Thank you for joining us today. First of all, I would like to thank you our sponsor, Alcom, Aluminium Company of Malaysia, Berhad, who has sponsored our event today. And just a small introduction about our sponsor. Alcom is incorporated in 1960 and listed in the Stock Exchange of Malaysia, Singapore in 1969. Alcom is the largest manufacturer of raw aluminium products in Malaysia. So today our topic is AI and sustainability, which was shared by our two esteemed speakers, Architect Jethro Coy from Birch Architect and Mr. Daniel Lim, Director of Sales and Marketing from Alcom. I would like to thank you all the members and participants who have spent your precious time. Continue to support PAM Northern Chapter. Also, I would like to thank you our PAM Northern Chapter CPD Chairman, Architect Chong Chong, to make this event come true, and our PAM Northern Chapter Secretary, Ms. Patricia and Ms. Joanna, for helping to coordinate with our sponsor and hotel arrangement. Without further ado, I would like to invite Daniel Lim, Director of Sales and Marketing, Alcom, to have a welcome speech.
Good morning. My name is Daniel Lim. It's a privilege to be here. Real privilege. Maybe let me start by sharing with everyone how I dropped in. Jethro and I, we go back a little bit, or rather a long way, more than 10 years ago. Back then he was teen. He's just as handsome as he is. Back then he was teen, uprising, very inspiring, young, and today successful architect. We met up recently, we caught up in Dayton, had a chat, and then we found out that both of us had common interests, mutual interests. We were both talking about future, all about future. And he was so engrossed about AI. I am very much into sustainability. And of course he shared with us from Alcom today's wonderful forum. Alright, and one thing led to another. He invited Alcom, and on behalf of Alcom and I and my team, we are very honored to be here. So let's move on from there. We met a couple of times, the last few weeks actually, quite a number of times. And we talked about these two topics. One is AI, one is sustainability. And for these two topics, they stand alone, they are respectable, they are all about future, right? But we want to have a bit of fun. So today, for that fun, we find that the real world, these two topics entwine. That's the real world. They come together. Although they are standalone, they come together. So today, if you see him lobbing at me, and I'm shooting at him, it's just for fun, right? We will be, integrating our presentation. You see some slides that I steal from him, don't be surprised, enjoy that. Now let me talk a little bit about AI as well. From what I've snipped, sneak preview of his presentation. Guys, his presentation is going to be wow. I'm going to give him a bit of pressure. I'm going to be wow. Really good, really futuristic, really forward-looking. But it's all about the methodology, the creativeness of future. That's where he's going to give life to our sharing today. Now mine, on the other hand, sustainability can be a bit studious and structured. It feels like maybe we go back to school. So it helps if I try to be candid, be joking a bit about things. I personally want to share as well, sustainability, what I want to as an objective for everyone. I hope by the end of today, I can actually value add to you, because you are the catalyst. You are the catalyst, you are the influencers, you are the ones who are first mover, prime mover, of the industry, new design. So I hope with what I can impart, I can share, right, I can give you a consideration to influence your design and choice of material into the future. Right? That's my intention. Huh? Now I will ask for permission from everyone. I want to be a bit more comfortable. So bear with me, please. Comfortable means I'll be talking about aluminium. I'll be talking about alcohol. I won't be talking about anything else. But aluminium and alcohol is where I hope, after sharing our inner initiatives in alcohol, what we offer as external initiative, you look at it, and you can replicate all this to other types of materials, whether it's cement, whether it's concrete, whether it's steel. You know now what is sustainability, the questions to ask when you talk to all these material suppliers, you know whether they are ready there or they are not even thinking about it. That's what I hope that I can deliver today for everyone. That's the value add. Let me share a little bit. This is what I'll cover. 5 blocks. The first block, aluminium alcohol. We'll start with a very simple introduction, but this will give you a perspective into sustainability. The second block I'll be sharing will be planetary health and what is global initiatives, how this is influencing the world today. Is very broad, yeah, just to start us. Block 3, overview of regulations, the legal part of sustainability. What is this? Who is the authority, right? Block 4 will be going straight into this noise and this topic about sustainability. What is it all about? What is carbon scope? What does it mean by carbon scope? And again, I'll be using Alcom's internal initiatives to share this. Last but not least, we'll end up with aluminium as the external solutions. What are the practices? What are the extended value add that we have already been practicing? We'll offer that, we'll share that. Yeah, so that covers today. Right? One more thing. I should share this as well. Very recently, I spoke to a friend, and he said this. Architects, create wonderful buildings. That's his comment. And I stand here telling everyone that I am one of those who oppose the comment. I oppose the comment. Because through time, through history, I told him that it's proven that architects create civilization. Architects create culture. And if I may, architects help mankind to evolve again and again. Like I said, you are the prime mover. You're the guy who decides material. So that's where you are, the catalyst. I hope I can add value to it. Last but not least, I don't see popcorn. So relax, guys. Chill, enjoy yourselves. Jethro and I will be back a bit, alright? And I'll see you later. Thank you. Good to be here.
Cukup better tu. Terus tangka tu. Dia tak start lagi. Sensitif tu, not bad. Jarang record video.
Okay, thank you, Francis, Architect Francis, for the kind introduction. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I am Jethro, as he has introduced.
It is indeed a great honor and privilege to be back here in Penang because I studied and graduated from USM. Okay. So I spent a good 5 years here in Penang, and those were the best years of my life. Okay. The good food, the good people, okay. And of course the good architecture, heritage. It somehow has a charm that makes me come back every 1-2 years. Okay. So, first of all, I would like to thank PAM Audit Chapter for inviting me to share this with everyone. I would like to thank the team from Alcon for making this happen. Okay. Thank you everyone for being here. Okay. That shows that you're actually interested in the future. Or actually interested to streamline or make your work more efficient, hopefully. Okay. Now the topic of today is AI and sustainability. Is it a disruption or a tool for architects? Okay. So, when companies like Uber and Grab came in, it disrupted the taxi service industry. Okay, you can either hate it, oppose it, or you can embrace it. Okay, but of course, it's not that straightforward. There's also legislations and things you need to comply with, that sort of thing. Obviously, this is something new. AI is something new. The governments are actually trying to figure out what it is and how to control it. Okay, same like cryptocurrency and all the other new stuff in life. Okay. Now, few days ago I was at Popular, okay, and I browsed through some of the magazine sections, and you see the Age coming up. Every 1-2 weeks they come up with articles about AI, ethics of it, what companies are coming out. And if you look at Harvard Business Review, the latest edition, is like one whole book all about AI and how we can actually use it to make our work more efficient. Okay. And things like Xiaohongshu and all the state talk, these are things that I don't really use, but we have to know because the next generation are coming in, they're using all this. Okay. You never know. People might start selling houses using Xiaohongshu and TikTok. You never know. Back then, you sell a house using a website. Whoa, does it make sense? Right? But it makes so much sense now. Okay. So, as we move forward, things will be a lot more efficient. Things will be a lot more democratized. Things will be a lot more user friendly. Okay, and that's where AI comes in. Now, what is AI? Not so much. What is AI? Okay. So, all instructions that are issued by the architect has to be expressly entitled architect's instruction. Okay, AI. Now, thanks for laughing. I was hoping you guys would laugh. Now, it's I'm trying to show context. Okay. Context is very important when you deal with AI. And what we've shown here is, in the context of architects, I talk about AI architect's instruction, right? Now, when we prompt or when we generate images, context comes into play, and it will make things more accurate. Okay? So, the definition of AI, which I will be presenting today, is actually machine learning. Okay? So, AI is basically artificial intelligence, not architect's instruction, the one that I'm presenting. It's basically a simulation of human intelligence but machine learning process. Okay. You can Google and generally it sounds like this. Basically, the machine, the computer, tries to simulate out the way human thinks, the way human works. Thinks, especially. Just a simple definition. But before that, I would hope to put into perspectives where we are. The innovation cycles are something, it's the thing that actually propel human forward. Okay, and if you look at all these years, whenever there is a new discovery, there's a new technology being introduced, it actually sparks a higher revolution. So all this 1.0, 2.0 is like, that's where the industrial revolutions are. Okay, it's actually sparked by things like steam, power, rail, and introduction of steel into our human civilizations. Okay, so if you observe this pattern, the years are getting shorter and shorter, which is a good thing because as we advance, we have more knowledge. Okay, we can utilize the knowledge better. Okay, and it's also good because if you are into investment, if it's shorter, then you can actually invest more things rather than your whole life investment in water-powered companies. AI is somewhere here. Okay. The fifth revolution is rumored to be AI. It's about robots and drones and clean tech. If you look at it, it is already there. Things are happening. Okay, and what are we doing to capitalize on this opportunity? Okay. So you can also view yourself as, oh, AI is going to take over my job. Okay. You can also see it as a way that, okay, if it's going to take over my job, do I try to have the first mover advantage and make use of it, and then only take over everyone's job? Okay, this is a chart that charts the performance of AI in various fields. And if you look at it, human peak performance is here, 100%. Okay, and some of the things that AI started to do is since 1998 is more on recognition, handwriting recognition, image recognition, and as we move towards the 2010, we start to have speech recognition. Then later you start to understand things, comprehension. Okay, then it starts to generate things. Okay. Now, it's scary in the sense that last time a lot of things are actually, it took like many years, okay, 15 years for it to beat human beings' performance. Okay, but again, it improves a lot faster than us. And certain things are, within 1 year, it actually shoot up, can beat us already. Okay, so this is where AI stands now. AI tools. Okay, this is a diagram that shows the amount of AI tools that are available in the market. This was about 3 months ago. I believe 8 months ago it was 60. 3 months ago it was 150. Now I believe if they were to chart the whole thing all over again, it probably will reach 200. Okay. There are many types of AI tools, productivity, video editing, marketing, writing, design, and chatbot. So the few of the AI tools that I'll be expounding on will be ChatGPT and Google Bard, as well as Midjourney, the ones highlighted in red here. Okay. Now, as all these apps and AIs are introduced, I tend to like to view it from the diffusion of innovation point of view. Okay, so this is a chart that shows the diffusion of innovation. Basically, it's to measure the rate of ideas and technology being spread throughout society. Okay, so if you look at it, the first 2.5% is actually the innovators. Okay, those are the people who just want to try things. Whether it's actually perform or whether it's actually workable or not. They don't care, they just want to try. They are the ones who believe in new technology, and they are the ones who like to take risks. So it's just 2.5% of the people. And then there comes the early adopters, 30.5%. So these are the people who are like influencers, key opinion leaders. Okay. So these are new terms that probably we don't know 10 years ago. But these are the people who are doing TikTok and selling you products and people who try to show you new things in life. They get a lot of likes for this. Okay. And after that will be the early majority. Okay. This is the people where, they look at all these things being proven successful, then only they want to adopt the idea of technology. Then the late majority, they will be like, Everyone using it, I don't use I use out. Okay, so that will be the next 84%. And the laggards, I don't even bother to write anything about it. Okay. They just exist and they want to try new things until being forced to. Now, so where does Midjourney and ChatGPT stands? Okay. So from my perspective, I think Midjourney is about here. Okay. It has reached the early adopter stage, whereas the ChatGPT, it has come to the point of penetrating the late majority stage. So it is a good graph for us to know, where we stand, where our products stand. Okay. Because if you can capture the early and late majority, if you are a developer, you sell until you already boss it out. Okay, it's very good. You are rich. So ChatGPT is considered an AI chatbot. Okay, you interact with it, it talks to you like a human, and basically these are all the AI chatbots that are available. In fact, it's actually more. I just want to highlight a few famous ones. Okay. And then there's Google Bard, the one that is created by Google. Now, there are so many. How do I even know which one I should use? And here is a rough guide for you to decide which one you would like to prefer. And a few things that I would like to highlight is, accuracy definitely will be number one. If you're using a chatbot that tells you inaccurate things, no point, right? And fluency is, I'll just highlight the green color ones. Okay. Creativity, you want whatever they generate out to be very creative. It can be a love letter, it can be a formal letter, it can be, very different things. Same goes to flexibility. Then there is ease of use. If you just look at it and you already know what to do, that is a good AI software. That is a good app. Okay. And ChatGPT is this. Even children nowadays, they can actually straight away open it up. As long as it's registered, they can actually use it to ask questions. No need to do programming 101110001, that sort of thing. Now, so I'll speak on ChatGPT first. Oh, I forgot to introduce. I'll be speaking on ChatGPT for this 1 hour. Later, you will be considered, you have tea time, and then you'll be considered with Daniel's sharing on sustainability. And after that, it will be on image generative AI. We decided that was the best way to convey the messages that makes sense. Now, ChatGPT, just to highlight its performance now, this is a chart that shows the apps being adopted and the rate of adoption, the number of years taken for it to reach 100 million users. Okay, so I'm sure a lot of apps are, you kind of use at least half the apps, I hope. And if you look at it, it used to be like, what was it used to be? Things like Facebook took 4.5 years to reach 100 million. Okay. Instagram took 5 years. TikTok, back then, recently TikTok was the big thing. 9 months already reached 100 million users. And now ChatGPT, we did just 2 months reach 100 million users. Okay. That means a lot of people around the world is using it. And it's scary, within 2 months we roll out a project and 200 million people using it. To the point that when I try to sign in, I cannot sign in because too many users. They don't scale fast enough to cater to that many population of users. Now, 100 million is very important for programmers because if you have 100 million and people start to pay you, you have a lot of money. Okay, so ChatGPT, there's a free version and there's a plus version. The plus version charges $20 per month. Okay, so I did a rough calculation. 0.1. It assumed that 0.1% of the people actually pays for ChatGPT Plus, and I already have 4 friends who are actually paying for this ChatGPT Plus. It actually comes out to 2 million per month. Okay, in 1 year it will be 24 million. Okay. That is assuming 0.1% of the 100 million using it. And the crazy thing is, ChatGPT forecasted they will reach 200 million for the year 2023 alone. Okay, 200 million for 2023 alone. So my calculation are very conservative. Now, what is ChatGPT? I'm not going to bore you that much. It's basically, in case children ask you, what is ChatGPT? At least you can say ChatGPT is generative pre-trained transformers. Sorry, too much into transformers. So always heard ChatGPT. At least you know what it actually is. And it's by OpenAI. Okay. Currently, they're using GPT 3.5 architecture. This architecture is not our architecture; it's programming architecture. The rest of the things it's trained on a diverse set of data set from the internet. Okay, and those data sets actually capped at September 2021. Now, the funny thing is, when I was driving up to Penang 2 days ago, they just announced that they have removed this cap and they're going to open it to the latest data set. That means whatever that was posted yesterday, you ask ChatGPT, you can actually get the answer. But I actually tried yesterday, still cannot. Now, ChatGPT timeline. So it started off in November 2022. Okay. Then it upgrades over the months. Okay, and there are some milestones. They start to charge here for the plus, and then yesterday the architect Chong was asking me. It was actually incorporated into Bing Chat. Okay, about this time. Okay. Then they start to upgrade, and they have plugins in March. Plugins are very useful if you are into a lot of research. You can actually use plugins to assess different data sets to get the desired results. Italy started to block in April 2023 because they realized that they do not understand ChatGPT, where it gets the data from. And it's dangerous because it's using a lot of data, whether it's illegally or legally, give you answers, and everyone can get those kind of answers. So they tried to block it, and I was like, oh, how come countries, don't want to embrace AI? What they want to go backwards, is it? So that was the reason. And then later they actually introduced it back about here. Then because OpenAI, they don't want to create problems, they want mass market adoption, and they actually comply and they lifted the ban in Italy. So, Japan started to use ChatGPT for administrative works, and things are getting more and more interesting nowadays. Normally, things like apps, if you are frequent users of apps, they always do a lot of updates. If you play games also, they will have updates, new mods, that sort of thing. So, ChatGPT is doing that. Some interesting info. The 100 million users was achieved in February this year. There are more male users than female users. ChatGPT has over 9 billion all-time views. That means throughout all these years, there's already 9 billion views. Here is where it's expected to generate 200 million revenue. And some countries do not get to use ChatGPT. So I guess we should be thankful. In Malaysia, they haven't come to that. China and Russia, we cannot access ChatGPT. Now, just to show off some muscles, ChatGPT's muscles, it actually passed a few exams. Imagine in the US, you have the medical exam, and pass some law exams, bar exams, okay, the GRE exams. This is where, after you graduate, you go postgraduate and PhD, you actually have to pass the exam, this exam. And ChatGPT passed all this. Okay. Scary, right? I mean, you can't even pass, some of us can't even pass a 10 part 3 exam, and then this bot is actually doing all this. Now, usage is so useful, it's so friendly that you realize that different people can actually use it. I mean, that's how they achieve how many users are. So, this is just some examples. Students, they actually ask you to write an essay. The problem is probably like write an essay about I and a pen for 300 words, okay? And then you just generate out. Later, I'll show you some live examples how it generates. You can actually use chat languages. For researchers, they can actually provide reference materials as you summarize it, entire articles for you. Then we have programmers. I think this is very useful. They can actually help you write codes. Okay? And when you write codes, there are errors that they can debug for you. For simple words, for class, you can actually generate emails. Send out an email that is professionally written and can proofread, correct your sentences, that sort of thing. Analyze investors, analysts and investors, they can actually use it to compare company performances, summarize the quarter reports. Of course, you ask, can I ask ChatGPT to tell me which stock to buy? It doesn't work that way. Nowadays, it's very safe. They'll tell you things like, we are not a professional investor or what. Do your own study, we can give you comparison, that's it. Designer architect, you can actually use it to generate concept right up. Okay, I want a building that looks like a teddy bear, and give you 300 words. You can actually use it to explore philosophies, ideas. What is biomimicry in Star Wars, sort of thing. So lawyers, especially very useful for them because they deal with a lot of sentences, a lot of alphabets. This is where you can actually do legal research, document review, and it actually, for me, I think the profession that benefits the most is actually for lawyers. Okay. Now, prompt. When we type something in ChatGPT, it's called prompting. The things that you type out, that sentence is called prompt. Okay. It's more of a programmer's term. And like I mentioned just now, context is actually very important because it gives it the background of what it needs to state. Okay. Then task, you let it and the conditions. Basically, you let it know in what condition you want your answers to come up. Instructions, that's where you ask it what to do. And later clarify. This one clarify, I think it's no need to be done for me, but the clarify is to you understand what I don't understand. So refine is when you fail, then ask the question, then you fail, then you refine by changing some of the words. Okay. So fun time. Okay, I will do some live performances on ChatGPT just to show you roughly what you can do, and bear with me for a while. I'll basically just have to hold the clicker and the microphone at the same time. So I'll be doing some typing, and then you'll see what ChatGPT can do. I'll start with something more general as I zoom into detail towards architecture. Now, it's a very simple prompt. Write a letter to a girl, love letter to a girl, and her name is Fanny. Okay, so I just read a bit. I'm going to read over. My dearest Fanny, as I sit down to pen this letter book, my heart brims with a warmth that only you can ignite. Whoa! See. It is said that laughter is the best medicine, and in your company I found the elixir of life. Your name, Fanny, aptly captures the essence of joy and love. bring into my life, and I wanted to take a moment to express the profound feelings that have blossomed within me. Okay? I start to question myself again. Now, if you think this is cool, let's see the next thing. You can write poems. Okay? Same thing to Fanny. In laughter's tender, playful embrace, I found a love, a joyful space. Fanny, you're the spark that lights my night. With every chuckle, you're my guiding light. Okay? And my heart starts to melt again. So, you know, this is how creative and versatile ChatGPT is. Imagine you use this in architecture. Now, what else can it do? Of course, this is a very general thing. I didn't even show you context, but this is more to versatility. So I asked you to generate a love letter to Fanny in Singlish. So, dearest Fanny, wow, where do I even start? You are like the chili padi in my laksa, the sambal to my nasi lemak, and the kopi o in my kopitiam. Okay. So, I mean, the rest goes on. So, yeah, you can just download this app and then try all the funny things you want. Basically, this is what you can do. Okay? I mean, love letter is one thing, but you can do it in Singlish, and it's quite decent, you know. Sambal, salsa, and all things. Now, let's try another one. So I gave it a bit of context. Yeah, if you have questionable moral compass, don't worry, ChatGPT corrects even your moral compass. Okay, that was just for laughs. Oh, ugly. Basically, I was like, you know, write a letter and say someone is ugly. You also do the same thing. It will tell you it's not good. Yeah, later. I'm doing that later. Okay. Yeah. So this is general. I'm going to zoom in. Oh. Okay, so I think this is very funny. You know what's wrong? All of the sweet talk is generated by ChatGPT. Okay. You know, the funny thing is, there's this joke whereby you want to tell someone to do something. It's just 30 words. You ask ChatGPT, change it to 300 words, and you pass to someone. And then someone's like, 300 words? And then, if he's smart, he will actually take that, go to ChatGPT, summarize to 30 words, and then you get the thing. Now, write letter, you know, everyone can write out. So, can ChatGPT do something for architects? Okay, let's try something different now. So, I'm going to ask you to compare PAM contract quantity and without quantity. Oh, so this is where you get the question answered. When you have something of a different topic, you do not continue from the same topic because it is still thinking about Fanny. Okay. So you have to start a new chat so that get a new context. So as you can see, I started off with establishing the context that I'm an architect, practicing in Malaysia. If not, they'll probably give you PEM contract in the Philippines or what. So, yeah. The thing I like to test with PEM contract is because it is something that not the whole world uses, only some Malaysia, that small population. And in the small population, there's even a minute special people called architects. And that is where and then even architects also not everyone really practice, and then there's this PEM contract, such a very zoomed in detail, and whether it actually scrape this kind of information from the internet. So in here, you will say things like in Malaysia, PEM contract refers to, explains to you what it is. Pertubuhan Architect Malaysia, I say PEM, you can tell me Pertubuhan Architect Malaysia. Okay. So here, it actually compares PEM contract with quantities, detail measurement, quantity, various. I'm not going to go in detail. It might be boring for those who already know, and you all should know. So this is PEM contract with quantities. These are the attributes. It's PEM contract without quantities, and these are the attributes to it. So nowadays it's very defensive, and it will tell you things like you better check with PEM. PEM contract is ensure successful legal compliant projects. Legal advice officer with qualified QS or construction professional are often advisable and selected. Okay, this one is confident enough. So yeah, this is where it starts to, you can see some application from an architectural point of view. Next will be something more unique. I like to pull examples from different, very, very different things, because these are things you can hardly get on the internet. Okay, how many here actually read Sun Tzu's Art of War? Okay. If no one read, at least I can bullshit whatever I want really. Now, for those who know, for those who have read, know your terrain, site analysis. See? Know your terrain, site analysis, so applicable. Know your client, know your enemy. Wow, it's actually really helping me with my adaptability, use of space and time, etc. So, no, it actually kind of makes sense, to a certain extent. Of course, you tell different things. Tell different people to tell different things. Now, if you want to zoom into detail, let's say, know your enemy. This one is interesting. My clients are my friends, so they're not my enemies. Don't really understand. Then you can actually go in detail, understanding your client's goals, know their budget, identify their preference and taste, this sort of thing. At first you look at this, okay, looks like quite shallow and simple, but you can actually ask it to expound further, in detail. Okay. So this is. If you actually compile enough, you can actually publish your own book. Now, empathy. This is actually a very good question because, to see whether ChatGPT think like a human or very cold hard machine do things like that. So this example is, I'm an architect. Halfway during construction, my client doesn't have money to pay for my services, even though I've completed the stages as outlined in the letter of award. What can I do? Should I sue my client? Okay, I'm quite confident, fresh grads come out, see this question, sue lah! Right? Let's see what ChatGPT advises. See, start to get defensive. I'm not a lawyer, but I can offer some general guidance on what you might consider if you find this. So, for those planning to sue your client, Okay, first, review the contract, see whether you can put this to sue or not. Okay, then communicate with the client. Open communication is crucial. Talk to your client. Don't just straight away scare people. Mediation and arbitration. Okay, work on a payment plan. Work on a payment plan. If you actually think about arranging a payment so that it helps the client to pay and we get the fees. Document everything. See, I wish people tell me document everything when I was a lot younger. And you keep everything, you have tools to do things. Consult an attorney. Then only start to consult an attorney. Mechanics lien, depending on the jurisdiction. I'm not too sure about that. Consider legal action. See, if all else fails and you believe you have a valid case, you may decide to pursue a lawsuit for breach of contract. So it starts off telling you, do things the human way. If you can help the client. Then, towards the end, only it starts to ask you to sue, and even that also asks you to consult a lawyer. About this part. Now, it tells you about it being the last resort. The next question is quite applicable also. If I find it hard to chase money from the client, please give me some tips on how to talk to the client. For those who think I'm asking stupid questions, to some of us, it's actually quite pertinent. Chasing payments from clients can be challenging and uncomfortable tasks. Be polite and professional and choose the right time. Choose the right time. It even understands that people got different time, different movement. Okay? Use clear communication, set the reminder. Oh, set the reminder, this one's something I should do. Sometimes you can forget even money, offer payment options. So if you look at the list of how it explains things, the way it advises things, it's actually can be pertinent to the way some of us work. And instead of making some very bad and very, it's like assaulting someone, it actually encourages you to talk to someone, open to someone, and discuss it, come up win-win for both parties. That's what I advise. Now, then when you really have to write a formal letter, help guide me to write a formal letter to the client who failed to pay, to ask client for payment. See? Give you formal letter template. Okay? Subject, dear client's name, So beautiful. Recently, I had one staff who resigned because he wanted to pursue further studies. He just sent me a WhatsApp. I mean, if the person uses ChatGPT, at least I'll get a formal letter. Okay, our next speaker, Daniel, will be speaking on sustainability. There are some jargons that, when I talk to him, I realize some words I do not understand, or I pretend not to understand. So things like, for example, what is ESG? This is the kind of question where you get very long-winded answers because it deserves that kind of answers. And then you actually have to read a lot of things. Okay, for example, ESG stands for environmental, social, and governance. Okay. Then you have all these things. What is E? What is S? And you can actually pick certain words, like what I did just now. Take environment. I do not understand environment. Please enlighten me on the word environment. Always use please, so that when there's a machine uprising, they remember you. You are the guy or the girl who say please. Okay. So I'll actually type this and then I'll further ask you to expound. And if you think that, oh, too much word to read, Daniel is going to present, I don't need to read, but I roughly need to know what it is about. In 30 words, summarize ESG. So, ESG, Environmental, General, Social Governance, criteria assess company sustainability, ethical practices, and responsible governance, helping investors and stakeholders make decisions based on its impact and behavior in these areas. So yeah, I'm going to listen to Daniel's talk, and he's going to say everything, but I just roughly need to know, be prepared a bit. And don't want to prepare so much, I just want to prepare a little bit. You can actually ask him to summarize. Actually don't have much time. Yeah, 5 minutes. Okay. With all good technologies, later I'll still come to the fees. With all good technologies, there'll be people who think that, oh, it's gonna take over my job, and there'll be riots in AI. There's this Hollywood AI writers strike. Okay, basically people in Hollywood who write for all these movies. They are going on strike, saying that it's taking over their jobs, no job, and there will be some people who will be suing OpenAI because they believe that it's scraping their works and using to generate answers for people around the world. Okay. So, on and off, you see a lot of these things. Same as when you see people, taxi drivers, going on strike when Uber and Grab came in. Okay. ChatGPT, how it works. Okay, I have 5 minutes. How it works, I believe I need to explain a bit of machine learning. Okay. I need to explain so that you know whether it's right or wrong. So when machine learning is in a way like how we learn things, how is actually, okay, you start to train the machine by asking it questions, it will answer you. And then you actually give the answer whether it's right or wrong. Okay, that's the first part, step 1. Step 2 is you ask him many questions, right or wrong. And then it starts to rank the questions, the answers, more right or more wrong. Okay, and further down at step 3, you actually use because it's all repeatable tasks for AI anyway. So you start to create a reward model to actually calculate whether it's right or wrong. Okay. So we actually went through from just one question and answer, because many questions and answers being compared, and then later he starts to learn how the humans actually think which one is good and bad, and from there they actually give the reward and keep training itself. A lot of jargons. Simple thing. Okay, I just need to explain this because it's a bit different from, it's machine learning. It's different from machine being self-aware. Okay, self-aware is like Ultron, come and destroy you. Machine learning is, it tries to learn things the way humans learn. Okay, that is a cap to what it can do. Okay. Am I allowed to use ChatGPT? Okay. Actually went through the terms and conditions. Like all softwares, we are supposed to read the terms and conditions before we use the software. And basically, I just highlight a few important ones. It grants you a non-exclusive right to use, meaning that it can grant you, you get the answer, you can use it, another person can use it, everyone else can use it. Okay. That means it's not just exclusive to you, it's non-exclusive. Of course, identity, whatever it generates, you identify it, you do not, they won't be liable for the damages that they've done. Okay? You are the one who generated it, you'll be liable. That's the gist of it. The next one I'll go to is Bard by Google. Very fast. Google is by AI. It trains from a massive data set, and it actually is very live and updated. You won't get capped to the time data set has been trained. Bart is actually, they try to, I put this picture here because this is Bart. Medieval times, this guy telling stories, telling jokes. They want Bart to be able to do that. I personally think that Bart nowadays is better than ChatGPT because ChatGPT now is very defensive. Everything also, they try to beat around the bush, answer you, don't answer you. But Bart, on the other hand, haven't have this inhibitor chip yet. So what it does is that it gives you very good answers nowadays. Things like, for example, compare handphone 2006 and 2018. This is what Bart looks like. The same question I'll ask ChatGPT. So here, Bart can actually compare it like this, compliance and latest legislation, feedback stakeholders, sort of thing, extension of time, payments, dispute resolution. These are the things that I've seen the write-up for this from PAC. It's actually a lot longer. But you at least get something like this. Oh, today you give me a very nice answer. Okay, ChatGPT also can. It was very bad answers for the last few days. So regulatory changes. So of course, if you are a person who has already passed the Part 3 exam, you know everything. But for those who haven't, those who are started out, they don't know what is what, they read this, it actually helps them a lot. Okay? Or at least start to help them a lot, point in the right direction. Okay? Now, another good feature I find is that you can actually upload an image and ask it to describe. So, for example, I have this image, and I can actually upload the Bart. Okay, recently I've done a proposal for student accommodation. For context, it looks something like this. Okay. Adaptive reuse of an existing building, we do the facade and introduce green landscape into it. And here, I upload an image, ask it to describe it for me. Architecture for the student accommodation, modern sustainable design, high quality materials, energy efficient, and stuff like that. So again, it gives you different answers each time you generate. Recently, it went to the point. It's actually for UiTM. It detected the UiTM word here, and it came out in the write-up. That happened when my staff did it, so probably I'm not that good. Okay. So yeah, they actually can elaborate on the image that you put in. If you have, you're revamping a website or you are doing a concept write-up, you can actually upload an image and do all this for you. Okay, just 2 more slides. A rough comparison. It's about the same thing. It's a chatbot. ChatGPT and compare it with Bart. Okay, one is by OpenAI, one is by Google. Even though both of them actually scrapes all the data from Google. Okay. How to access my website? ChatGPT has the free and paid version. Paid version is more live. Later I'll show you something. And then Bart is all free. Language, what is GPT, what is lambda, availability to all, data set. It used to be until September 2021. This one is real time. Now, okay, this was a question that I actually tested using ChatGPT free and ChatGPT paid and BART. Okay, so the question was simple. Can an architect in Malaysia charge below the minimum scale fees? What is the act of cost that I should refer? Okay. Now, ChatGPT's current answer is this. You know, it's like beating around the bush if an architect wishes to charge below the minimum. Actually, I find it even erroneous here. Okay. To have a specific agreement with the client. You actually can, but you have to have a specific agreement with the client. However, this should be done carefully and ethically, as charging below the minimum scale fees can potentially undercut the profession and lead to unfair competition from architects. You know, can or cannot, didn't really say, but sounds like can. If you want to mark the paper, it's like, do you even give it marks? Is it right or wrong? Okay. ChatGPT paid is slightly more clear, longer answers. The second schedule of this act stipulates the minimum scale of fees. It technically prohibits architects from undercutting or charging below the minimum scale of fees. Okay. Sounds good enough. Okay, so pay for it. But I like Bart's answer. Number one, no. No, an architect in Malaysia cannot charge below the minimum scale of fees. Okay, straightforward. That's how we should answer it then, in our land sense. And then the relevant cost is one. Okay, it actually gives you this kind of answer. It answers my question. You know, can it charge below minimum scale of fees? What is the act and the cost I should refer? Okay, so this is the comparison. I have been using ChatGPT since 6 months ago. Back then, ChatGPT gave me this answer. Okay. It was actually very good. But nowadays, I don't know, people complain too much or what, and then it starts to get more defensive and then give you answer, don't answer, that sort of thing. Then it becomes more grey, you know. So nowadays, I prefer to use BART. And yeah, it's still your choice what you want to use. I'm just here to share. I'm not here to sell. But, okay. Yeah, but this is a comparison. Yeah, that's all from me. I think now is okay. I'll pass back the mic to Architect Francis. Thank you.
Good morning, I'm back again. Good to be back. So following through from what Jethro has shared with us, isn't it futuristic? Isn't it wonderful? It's very different dimension. As I mentioned, it's very creative. It's all about way forward. I forgot to mention something about sustainability this morning. What I hope also to gather today for everyone is to add in that dimension of the soul part of things. The heart part of things. If I may add, you can look at sustainability as where we want to get to, like a destination, but there is no end game here. It's like a journey for us to continue to improve. Alright, so, and the other thing, thank you so much, Jethro, because you actually summarized sustainability in 30 words. I think I can go already. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, let me just run through. It's going to be a bit meaty. I hope still bearable. These are the 5 blocks that I mentioned this morning we will cover. Let's go to block 1, starting with ALCOM. Alright, firstly and foremost, ALCOM, I just want to say that we define ourselves as rolled aluminium product. That means you imagine tissue paper, it comes in roll. Alright, we've been a part of a company or global company called Novelis. And last year, Novelis, which is now owned by Adi Abdillah in India, their turnover was 41 million. We've been a part of them until 2016. And because they want to move outwards, aluminium to car body, to aerospace, they thought that our products, okay, a bit midstream and downstream, they divested us. And that divesting, I'm glad also to share, the one who bought us, made us local, is also a Penang boy. is none other than my boss, Mr. Yo Jin Ho. If you know Kianju, if you know Ken Wan, he owns them, right? Alcom is just one of those companies in the mid-range that he owns. That's where it is. But all of us, the main companies he owns, most of them aluminium, all right? So, leading supplier in, the only one in Malaysia, leading supplier in Southeast Asia, Asia Pacific. I may dare to say maybe international, we are making grounds, all right? 1960, Tunku Abdul Rahman invited Aluminium Canada, ALCAN. So we started our name as ALCAN. They invited ALCAN to come in and they invested. And that's the part of Novalis, as I mentioned just now. And 1969 until today, we are listed in Bursa. All right. Last year was our best year. Right? We were 20 million. We hit over our stretch goals. We were 20 million short of 1 million in turnover or revenue. Also to share with everyone just a perspective. About 1,200 to 1,300 tons is actually exported every month from my factory to US. And these 1,200 to 1,300 tons are mostly for construction and roofing industry. It's used there in roofing. It's 60-40 in US, that means 40 is steel, 60 is aluminum. Not like here, it's like almost 90% is steel, right? Okay, next page. How do we operate? So ladies and gentlemen, you look at this. We produce about 60,000 tons a year, right? 92% export. We operate with 471 workers. Last year at this time it was about 390. So we are growing. Yeah. We operate from a 31-acre land, and our factory size 11 acre. Now this 11 and 31, please hold the thought, hold the numbers. I'll come back to it. It's going to be useful. What do? We cast, which means we buy our raw materials, ingots, we melt it down, right? That's the first process, casting. And then from casting, we go on to hot band. It's 6 mm thick, all right? And then we have to cold roll it. Cold rolling means using rollers, mechanically force it to thin it down. And we will thin it down to 0.7 to 0.9 mm in this related, we say roofing or construction industry is normally 0.7, 0.9 mm. Does it go through from 6 to 0.7? No, it goes through 4 passes, 5 passes. That means you do roll it down a little bit, roll it down a little bit, and every time you roll it down, you have to put it back into the oven. Why? Aluminium is the only non-ferrous material in the world commercialized, big time used, that it has this wonderful nature in it. Every time you mechanically force it, it becomes very tender, very stiff. In order for you to get that, or that specifications that you want, you melt it down, or you put it down near to your melting point. It will run back, and suddenly after that it cools down, it gets back its original kind of specifications you want. So that's the beauty of aluminium. Short of saying, if you use it 20,000 times, the 21,000 times that you use it, as long as you melt it, you get back the specs. That's the beauty of aluminium, right? We have coating and we have slitting as well, just to go there, right? That's the process. Now, before I go to the next page, I want to now pay a little bit of a tribute to AI, right? We were saying we're going to integrate our presentation, right? I mentioned just now, melting down. So 1 degrees up, 1 degrees down. The pressure of compressing the aluminium from 6 mm every single time. Then we talk about all this. When we make aluminium, we have to add hardness. This gives the material, whether you want elongation, whether you want hardness, we have to add in hardness. And this hardness, when you add in, you have to make sure the homogeneity is like how Milo, you know, you make Milo, right? One part very thick, very sweet, one part cheng, the viscosity. All these parameters of control makes our manufacturing process difficult. But I must say this to everyone, if you think this is difficult, aluminium, or rather our industry, lives with 5 to 8% tolerance. And that's because we are industrial manufacturing. You imagine electronics manufacturing, they are talking about what? Parts per million. That means one piece out of 1 million pieces produced, fail, got problem. Six Sigma coming, right? But in our industry, so what? So why is this paying tribute to AI, ladies and gentlemen? Let me show you the next slide. How come it doesn't want to come? Come. Don't know why it shut down. Okay, we are going to talk about machine learning as what Jethro pressed on. Imagine I have 3 technical guys, combined 100 over years of experience. 2 of them retired, 1 retired 4 years ago, but all of them came back to help me. You notice we are the only one in Malaysia. Only one, we don't have peers. So these 3 gentlemen in technical, they are actually like the 3 not only in Malaysia, but actually in Southeast Asia. They are like the super aluminium guys. You cut the hand, the blood come out aluminium. But they are very precious. Very, very precious. You can't find. Alcom produces some alloy that our competitors around the world, they don't have the technology to produce. Sad to say, even with this backup, my current guy in technical, 30 over years, is about my age, but he's 30 over years in the company doing technical and manufacturing. Aluminium, super expert. Sadly, they can tell you, oh, 1 degree up, 1 degree down, roughly, I think roughly it will come like that. It will not fall out of specs, and if it fall out of specs, it's defect. It falls, it doesn't, it falls within the tolerance. You can still sell it, maybe high tolerance, low tolerance, right? And then they will tell you, oh, if something is wrong, the operator want to go and change the temperature up and down, go and look for the HOD, get the approval. By the time you respond, there is lag time again. So the response time is so slow. Now in March this year, our company invested 1.3 million for what? Sensors, thermometers, cameras. That's it. To do what? Collect data. Collect data. Alright? We collect all this data because why? We will collect for 10 months at least. At least 10 months. By January next year, we hope to have enough data, and our IT consultant, a listed company in US, they have experts from India as well, and they have aluminium experience. They will then use this data to come out with an algorithm. And this algorithm will be put into our new equipments, which I will talk shortly, and also improvised into our old equipments. What does this mean? Our equipments will no longer be with people. Just imagine just now, I said that last year 390 headcounts. Later you will see that we are investing, but at the same time, we will not be relying on human. It's all closed loop system, narrow parameter for manufacturing. Outcome of the product very good. Won't be a lot of defects. Everything will be very near the average we want. But at the same time, the equipment will react. I want 1 degree up, 1 degree down, everything is done. This is the part of this. I want to say this, we are not in the electronic sector. We don't need parts per million. But we really go there because why? AI makes that difference. And even in our rough and tough industry, industrial manufacturing, AI is here already. What are you going to do to make that change? That part, I pay tribute to AI. The investment for AI, that 1.3 million is just the tip of the iceberg. Honestly speaking, we forecasted it to be a 20 over million investment. Now I want to move on next to this. This is just sharing our next 5 years. Someone asked me during dinner last night, hey, how is the share price going to be? Well, the answer is this. We are investing. Originally, we only planned 390 million. Now you look at the figure, 550 million. This is $500 million. We've just gotten approval. Our piling will start in November. Lots of things going to come in November. Ladies and gentlemen, I will share with you later. Right? This blue box here determines only all the good news, commercial news. Actually, Alcom is on a good business wave. We are getting a lot of commitments from clients all over the world. We don't have enough to supply. That's why last year was a bomb for us, right? A good bomb. Now, this investment of 550 million will give us our usual new solutions, reliability. We know we have to be cost effective. We want to value add the business. These are all the fundamentals of doing manufacturing. It's our routine. But what we did was from the 390 to 550 million, the 160 million were very much on sustainable initiatives and very much on AI. And because of this commitment, of course you're short of capacity. Our clients negotiate once a year. We serve 75%, you know, if you use our products before. If you use Daikin aircon, Hitachi aircon, Carrier aircon, Panasonic aircon, you open up the aircon inside the tin stock, that's our major business. That's Elcom's major business. We supply internationally, right? They only negotiate once a year, and then we have one full year of volume, and we deliver, make, manufacture and deliver. But because of our initiative on this, AI, ESG, forward-looking, last year and this year they are coming to us say, okay, you're going to double your capacity, right, with this investment, right? We want that capacity for the next 5 to 7 years. And the best part of it is that prices we can talk. Right? Why? Because they see that value. So I want to park this with everyone to say, yeah, they feel threatened. We look at this corner here, this Ahembak. This is also part of our investment. Ahembak is the highest technology, state-of-the-art from Germany. We started from thinking, investing originally Chinese-made equipment. Then we went to Danieli, the biggest of that kind of manufacturer around the world, that's Italian. And finally we landed with Ahembak. And why Ahembak? Because Ahembak can produce, we are producing aluminium with the thickness of 1/5 of your hair thickness, 15 micron. Tolerance, 2% easy. We can narrow it down to 1%. These are things that we are combining just to give everyone that perspective. Now I mentioned about AI just now. Narrow parameter, less defects. What does that mean? That means less of it goes back to our port. Less double production, better sustainability. That's one part I want to share with everyone. So this starts us with saying, okay, Elcoms, you know, a little bit, to go very detailed later. This starts us to the perspective of block 2. Now we go out a bit from Elcom into the world. Planetary health situation. We'll talk about broad-based initiatives only. This is start us to kick in. Please pay attention to this video. You will look. Don't worry, you miss it as I talk. You will see that from 2010 or 2013 exactly, the last 9 years, you see red color. Red color means bad. Red color means bad. Just wanted to give you that perspective. And you will notice that it starts from 1880. Why? Mankind started to formally record the average world temperature in the year 1880. And this is many cities around the world, you need to have the facilities. That's why earlier you cannot. Alright, average temperature in 1880 was 14 degrees. This is including the winter, right? So 14 degrees, just to give you, you can see that it turns red. Meantime, this is since 1880 to 2022, actually. You can see that this means it became colder than 1880, and this blue means the longest one maybe in 1910, about 0.5 degrees Celsius lower than 1880, right? And you can see all these super red color bars, the last 10 years. It's all above by about 1 degree. A 1 plus that 0.5, the difference is 1.5 degrees, right? Why I want to share this 1.5 degrees. If it is happening within 2 or 3 years, that means negative 0.5 suddenly become hotter 1 degree. It happens within a span of 3 years. I'm telling you that all of us will feel it, right? 1.5 degree cycle of difference will cause the weather of the world, and this is where the scientists say every time 1.5 degrees change, we humans will face it drastically. There will be longer droughts. There will be a very hot heat wave. And then when we are thinking on that side, we think on the other side, you think it's going to be better, right? It's going to be hotter only, right? No. There will be intense storm. There will be sudden heavy thunderstorm, longer, and then suddenly you have sudden floods, right? This will reduce sea level, and the main part of it is when all this happens, it affects our food cycle. right? Want you all to feel that sustainability and that food cycle. Now guys, this is only the last 130 years or 40 years. I want to mark everyone to the last page here, the last slide here, or the last graph here. The last 100,000 years, what's the temperature like? Just look at the red circle. That's about 11,000 years ago. The difference here is that that's the time where our polar caps, north-south polar, start to stabilize, and then we have a 23.1 degrees kind of turning speed. The continents start to formulate. And at 11,000 years ago, mankind thrived. Why? After this period, you see this? Weather, because of the polar caps, became more sustainable. The movement is not so much we can predict it, and that's where mankind started to have agricultural success. Before that is what we call as the wild zone. Wild zone is before this, from here back to 100,000 years. That wild zone, why wild zone? You look at it, it's suddenly negative 20, suddenly it's 0. The movement is 20 degrees. Just now I said 1.5 degrees, you will feel it. This is wild zone. It's very tough environment and atmosphere and weather for humankind back then. That's why we never back then did well with agriculture. The other trend that you might want to know is that here is wild zone, here is mild zone, but again, wild or mild, you see that trend. Earth self-corrects. It goes up, it comes down, it goes up, it comes down. Unfortunately, it's a yo-yo, but it self-corrects. Now I deliver the bad news. The last 300 years. Since 18th century, 1,700 kind of timeline, we have our industrialization. Mankind became so industrialized, so good at it, and suddenly you see what happens. It goes up. And the last 300-400 years, we are talking about 5 degrees up. The hottest time in the world since the last 100,000 years was when? This period. This is the hottest time, the last 10 years of our time now. It's the hottest time since the 100,000 years. It's right up here, and it didn't correct. This is where it's gone a bit alarming. Right? And mind you, if you turn on CNN today, the last 3-4 weeks, you hear major cities around the world, US, Europe, India, hottest recorded temperature. Hottest recorded temperature. Guys, it's real, it's here already. A few months back, I came back to Penang, and I remember that 2 months where we didn't have enough water. Remember that time? Yeah? That 2 months, one of the weeks in Thailand recorded 54 degrees. Their record hottest day. 54. And where was it? It was 9 degrees higher than their record, if you're saying like 2 years ago, only 2 years ago. Of course, that 2 months, we went to we went to 50 degrees, and then day after day, it's beating its record. That's how bad it is. Today, we are talking about climate change, and I want to give everyone the first part that I want to say. Why is it like that? The main reason is greenhouse gas effect. Greenhouse gas means CO2, carbon dioxide that has been released from many sources, especially industrialization, and it has a big portion of sustainability. Up in the atmosphere, it entraps heat on the surface of Earth. It also, we will talk about radiative forcing. Next slide. So these are the 9 elements that we use to measure how our situation is. So if you could recall 15 years ago, 20 years ago, the topic was what? The topic was actually, oh, there's a hole. Ozone depletion, there's a hole. Guess what? Aerosol, ozone depletion, very green. Well done. If we put our mind into it, we can really get it done. Right? Out of 9, I will only share 1 or 2. The rest, if you like to, I can share with you later. But today we are very much on climate change. We are only talking about this part. Why? All of us in this room are actually in a position to influence this change. We are the ones who will be able to have relevance to this area. The rest of it, maybe we are the receiving end. Alright, we use it, or unfortunately it may not be so much related to us. We will talk about this very detailed, and I want to talk about radiative forcing. Remember I said CO2, greenhouse, it entraps itself in the atmosphere like a cloud. Right. Radiation from the sun gives us heat, but Earth will balance this heat. When we are too hot, whether it's ice, whether it's land, we reflect the heat back to the space. So that's the balancing, right? The problem is, when we want to reflect it back to space, in the atmosphere, in the air as it goes up, it gets entrapped by this carbon dioxide layer, and then this carbon dioxide layer radiates back heat onto Earth, making us hot again. That's the process. That part and the CO2 calculation, this is one of it. Novel entities known to be the most dangerous one today. What is novel entities? Basically, it is the unknown sector of the night. These are the chemicals we use in pesticides, in products that we use for makeup. Right, ladies, makeup, your FMCG products that you use, even pharmaceutical. And why is this unknown? Because these chemicals and its effect takes 30 years to bloom. It doesn't take immediately you use to see. I'll give you an example of an article. Suddenly in this big region in Japan, very recent, this whole region, not a kampong, they found out of nowhere, kids got born and then they have deformed fingers, and their parents, 30, 40, suddenly died. And it was happening quite rampantly that the government of Japan got a bit concerned. They sent their scientists over and they checked and they checked and they checked, and then they found out there is this certain chemical in the waterways and irrigation. They have been drinking and drinking. But it does not take effect immediately, because during my generation, I took it, I can take 70 years of punishment. Now my kids has a little bit of DNA of this, he takes again, and then he takes again, and suddenly, out of nowhere at 40 years old, my grandson died. So these are the unknowns. I just want to point out this part. We'll talk a little bit about fresh water later. These two, if you want, we can take it to the side, not an issue. But basically, what's the health today? Out of 9 elements, we've got 3 green. Alright, we have 4 red zones. 1, 2, 3, I would say these are 1, 2, 3, 4. And these 2 are generally orange zone. If we pass this threshold, ladies and gentlemen, it threatens our survival. So that's the part. Now I want to go from here to the global initiatives already. These are very broad-based. The first one, which is very famous and very relevant to all of us, promote circular economy. Reuse lah. So, just in case you think there are 3 R's, recycle lah, reuse lah, all this. Gentlemen, this is the ladies, this is the most updated one. There are 9 R's already. You name it, recycle, repurpose, repair, refurnish, remanufacture, reduce, refuse. But I want to point you to only one, which is very relevant to all of you, because you are designers. You decide the material. The first and ultimate most important R is reduce. Reduce by design. Because the choice you make allows all the R's to happen. If I choose plastic and plastic, for example, I'm not against plastic, please, guys. Plastic, then at the end, how to reduce? How to recycle? Right? You just have to put it on the ground and hope that 150 years later it corrects itself. Right? So this is the forefront, proactive, and this is been known now as the most important R for current times. Reduce by design, the choice of your design, the choice of your material. That's the first part. And it focuses on durability, repairability, and as well recyclability. Okay, I like to quote this gentleman, Mr. Antonio Guterres. He is the Secretary General of UN, and he says mankind has an urgent and very important choice or decision to make. We either break through or we will break down. right? So this is the part, the first R, or the first initiative. Second initiative, very famous. We talk about renewable energy, solar, wind, and hydroelectric. Okay, here I will just say Malaysians, we are all very fortunate. Why? We have very strong tools, solar and hydroelectric, right? We are not so good at wind, but just to let everyone know, Sarawak is championing wind, even on the seas today. They are investing already. East Coast can be not too bad as well, right? So we are fortunate, but I want to bring you to another country, China. Big country, right? You know they are very unfortunate. Why? Just the fact they have 4 seasons. They have winter, you know. What happens in winter? Got hydro. The water ice up, right? They got long droughts. So unfortunately, huge country, powerful country. Sorry lah, their hydro don't work well there. And because they have 4 seasons, do their solar work there, the angle of their hemisphere to the sun, they don't receive good sunlight even in winter, in autumn. Too bad, they are not strong, they are not so fortunate. But why I'm driving is this, guys, because we are fortunate. Let's us focus on renewable energy generation to reduce carbon emission. Carbon is the enemy, CO2 is the enemy, alright? Number 3, this one is the most difficult one. I find personally this is the one that challenges us because the most legwork, homework, the hard work, all here. Managing from end to end. I had this question just now, just outside, about managing end to end. You know, right from the start of the source. You think that, hey, maybe I put up a roofing, I asked the project guy asked the road former guy who makes the roofing sheet, and then he comes to me or Elcom to say, I got your material, you understand? No, guys. What about my raw material ingots? What about my ingot raw materials supplier? All the way to the bauxite mine, guys. That's how you manage sustainability. And that's why this part here, the choice, the source, being ethical and having robust sustainable programs, and ethical standards, minimizing and proactively taking care of environment and social risk. This is the part that makes this whole number 3 very challenging. Number 4, very simple. It's all going back to your designs. The option here or the decision here is to minimize disruption to habitats. We do not want to take out our wildlife because accidentally you do not know. We do that and then we kill off, for example, I give you one insect will do. What happens if the world goes out of bees? No more bees. We will extinct because bees is so important. Now, if we do something and we kill off a certain generation or species, we don't know how these species affect our whole ecology. This takes time again. By the time we realize, too late. So we are gambling with the unknown in this part. So let us look at all these wildlife unwavering initiatives to preserve, rejuvenate ecosystems, don't disrupt. We are not talking about waterways, we are just talking about habitats of wildlife and things in the jungle. They are there for a reason. Next, very famous today, we are talking about it in detail. The keyword is carbon neutrality, carbon zero, don't want carbon. So ladies and gentlemen, this is one. And then we have to have investing in to offset initiatives and procuring renewable energy certificate. What is this certificate? We will talk about it later as well, not to worry. Water stewardship. How are we using water? This is also important. Now, can anyone guess fresh water that we can use as human? How many % of the water available in the world? Give a guess. Anyone want to give a shot? How many % of fresh water is really relevant and can be used by human in the world? Sorry? 3%. Wow, bullseye. Only 3%. Ocean water also want to minum mati. 3% is right. But let me tell you another detail. 2.5% of that 3% is either in the glaciers or deep underground. We have no access to it. So sorry, we only have exposed 0.5% of fresh water 0.5%. You see water everywhere, cannot use. And this 0.5% means, for general purpose of our humankind, we need 6,000 kilometer cube of water. 6,000 kilometer cube of water. We need to recycle it as rain, use it properly and whatnot, so we have enough. The second water I want to talk about, this is waterways, is what we call as green water. What is green water? Green water is the water at the soil base, at the root base. You don't want the trees to die, but you poison the water they take at the soil level, their akar, they will die. So how are we going to take care? Guys, it's all water conservation initiatives safeguarding watersheds. Next. This is part of the design, remember, reduce by design. This is all the proactiveness. Companies like Alcom, we need to take the initiative. We need to come up with these solutions. We need to propose to all of you what are the available cutting-edge technologies that will preserve Earth, that has sustainability in it. This is one part. But there will be a part of an investor who wants to invest, we will talk about it, who has to invest. And we will be a part that you will be the conduit to share and convince them to use this. Right? So R&D gives us what? Pioneering innovative solutions addressing the challenges on sustainability, cutting-edge sustainable and sustainable technologies. We want that. Now I want also to add to everyone, is also a collaboration. We talk about institutions, the R&D research centers, they have to put in that thought, right? Corporate citizens like Alcom, we have to invest. You don't invest AI, sorry, you reproduce. Even in my process, I produce scrap, right? I have to take it out and do something. Every time I take it out and do something, carbon emission again. But when I invest AI, better quality, less effects, right? So all this will come in. It is not just the product, but also the process. Now this is the 7th one of the initiative, 2 more. The next 2 is very interesting because it includes people. And people means your friends, your family members, your community, right? Community engagement and social impact. Here we are talking about philanthropic initiatives. It talks about volunteerism. If we go to Royal go and buang sampah, I don't want to go, sorry lah. We know where we are. Right? It talks about us as wanting to do something for Earth. It's all communal development programs. Right? Dedicated to educate and improve healthcare or ourselves, our situation, and it's all about us. The next lot of people, which is the last slide for block 2, will be another group of people. And who are these people? These are your colleagues, your employer, your employees, your friends in business partners. Right? Employee well-being and empowerment. First and foremost, do you have a flexible program? I was asked, hey, what's your operating hours manufacturing? They all come at 8 o'clock, sharp one. Or do you have flexible hours that people can work, reduce carbon emission, but at the same time, make the environment positive, where we can then, because of this positive environment, create that ideas, these innovative ideas, but it's not limited there. Do you have education? Do you give training? Right? Do you have a safe platform to talk about these ideas? It's not easy, guys. Let me tell you, we are a public listed company. Remember that 390 million to 550 million? You think every time we want to get 1 million ringgit just like that? Sorry, Mr. Yo, Jinho owns the company, but we have to go through EGM. We have to go through AGM because we are a listed company. And in that law, there's a minority and an auntie asking, why are we investing this one? We don't make money, why are you going to give? Oh, invest on this, invest on that. They don't understand. It's not easy. But we really want to put this into practice. Again, I forgot the group of stakeholders. Investors themselves are also people. So these are the 9 initiatives that we want to talk about, broad basis. After this, it gets a bit heavy. So yeah, I mentioned this morning is studious, but hopefully with the heart. Okay, we are going into the legal regulations. So here I will cover what is the legal status of the world when you talk about sustainability. Anyone can guess here, which is the region that takes the lead? Which is the region in the world that takes the lead on regulation? Make a wild guess. Europe. Because why? They want to change, they are taking the lead. They are also the one who will put carbon tax to their citizens and those who import already. So yes, what is this kebab? Kebab? Actually it's not kebab, it's called CBAM. What is CBAM? Ladies and gentlemen, it is actually carbon border adjustment mechanism. It is also the body that is the authority that is set up and established by the EU community, European Union, and it's very powerful. Let me tell you the three things they do. They set the standards for certification. They set the standards, the ISO standards. Number two, they set the regulatory and also legal platform to make things become legal. Means you don't do, you go to jail. Or you pay a penalty. Number three, they are the ones who manage what we call as ETS, emissions trading system. That means they are the ones who charge you the carbon tax. Very expensive, later we'll talk about it. Right? So they regulate and they enforce. What is their objective? Their main objective is to prevent carbon leakage. And what does this mean by prevent carbon leakage? That means if you are a supplier, a manufacturer in Europe, or like us in Elcom, we export to Europe, they want and will check on you to make sure what's your carbon emission, what's your carbon calculation of the aluminium coil that you send to Europe. Alright, so they manage is whether your components, semi-finished or full finish, anything that you produce that goes into Europe goes through this system. Otherwise, sorry, it comes back to your country. Right? What's the scope? The scope will be, you can see over there, we're talking about steel, cement, even fertilizers, electricity, you'll be surprised, plastic, of course aluminium. And this scope, ladies and gentlemen, will be growing. Alright? Next, a bit of timeline. It was established, CBAM was actually established in December 2019. And right about this month itself, and Elcom has been doing this for the last few months. They want to play with it. So in other words, we export there. We use our own format, we calculate our carbon emission, we report it. Right? And our clients over there take that report as gospel truth now. They just want to give us testing time. They are also testing themselves. Later we will see CBAM is running astray as well. They are panicking. They are scrambling to do things to correct as well, as they want to charge carbon tax. The next two timeline that is important is 2016, 2017. Remember 26, 27, remember 1st of January. What does it mean by 1st of January 2026? By 1st of January 2026, they no longer say, hey, you want to supply into Europe, you give me your own report, tak boleh guna, tak boleh pakai. You must give me what we call as product carbon footprint. And this certificate is accredited worldwide by only approved labs. To get that certificate, you must be doing your part. After that, prove and get audited. Then only you get that cert. With that cert, they will determine how much carbon tax you pay. Alright? But in 2026, they just want to see that authentic cert. Then your products can come into Europe. Let me tell you what happens if you don't have the cert. First, you cannot penalty. Second, they send the goods back to the origin country. So you don't, for Elcom, you don't get your export. Sorry. In 1st January 2027, another additional process takes place. On top of the certificate, you start to pay carbon tax. So if you're emitting a lot of carbon, costs very, very expensive. If you're emitting less carbon or zero carbon, you don't pay lah. Right? So that's the part of timeline. Last slide. Okay, what's the cost? You see here, euro. This is only for aluminium, guys. $90 per ton. If for CO2, every CO2 metric ton you produce, you pay euro $90. I'll give you the the rough estimates in the short while. If you kena penalty, that means your goods sampai no cert, no IC, you kena another $100. Okay, just look at this $90 will do. An average price I export to Europe is about aluminum coil, one metric ton about $4,000 USD, $4,000. With this $90, if I don't do anything, Alcom doesn't do anything, client doesn't do anything, come 1st January 2027, they have to pay $1,600 USD on top of that 4,000, 40% up. No end customer in the world, nor my client who is the manufacturer in between, nor I can pay for that 40%. It's too expensive. So definitely this one helps us because what? The client has gone cuckoo. They don't want to pay. They know we cannot afford. So they will press us and say, what are you going to do with your sustainability? You got to improve, man. You got to reduce that. And it gives us an opportunity because companies like Alcom around the world, amongst our peers and competitors, we are leading the game far ahead. We are engrossed into sustainability, right? Oh, by the way, I forgot something. I don't know whether you noticed some of the background. Most of them are actually from contribution from Jethro. They are all AI, right? Okay, so this is the part that I explained the process of certification. What does it take? What do we have to do to say I'm certified, I got the IC? Right? First is the part of quantification. Quantification means calculation. For example, Alcom can engage a consultant or we have the expertise, we start to calculate carbon emission of each process. And this is only for our process. I haven't spoken about my vendors yet. Alright, my process, calculation first. Once the calculation is done, we send it to, for example, we have already started this 2 months ago. Right, we send all these calculations, the results, ours will be ready end of October or again November. Right, we will put this to Siri. Siri will do the pre-works, make sure that our calculation makes sense and sensible. And then we book their time, they come over for 1 week audit. Now this 1 week of audit is not to make sure the calculation is correct. They won't come if the calculation is wrong. But they will come and what they do is, this is what you calculate and say you need, right? I want to see the evidences. Where is the documents in your process? You say you use so much scrap, you use this kind of ingot, you use that kind of ingot that reduces carbon emission. They will check and make sure that the evidence is there. And if we are successful, the certificate is given. This certificate is what I called just now Product Carbon Footprint Certificate, PCF. And mind you, another number for you to remember, PCF is Scope 1 and Scope 2. I will talk about what is the scope. Later we'll talk about the content. It's only Scope 1 and Scope 2. Whereas, for us to have an entire sustainability, it has another Scope 3. Right? Full thing, 1, 2, 3. The world now looks at 1 and 2. Why not 3? Because the standard not ready. That's why I mentioned Europe scrambling. Right? Okay. Look at the picture. It's moving, right? By the way, I miss my favorite home. I wish I could just now. But this one is just to show AI. It doesn't only help to design something, but it can zoom in and out and you can look at how it blends into the environment as well. So it can be taken to the building itself, it can be taken far away. In block 4, as I start, we will talk about circular economy, we will talk about our internal initiatives inside Alcom, and then we will talk about the carbon scope. That means now we understand what is this scope 1, 2, 3, what is this sustainability all about. Huh? Alright, let's go. Big bullbox. Here is that, I said we did casting, that means we buy ingots and then we melt it, right? And then we put in our 6mm, we roll it down. This is a roll forming equipment, it becomes a roof. Clients takes it, 20 to 30 years later, they scrap the roofing, they want to change, right? We collect it back, And this scrap processing is not as easy as you think it is. We have to clean it, we have to compress it, we have to control the carbon emission. There's a lot of things. We need to have even a temporary furnace to do this. But in Alcock, we have both. We have this in-house process, we also have vendors who do this for us. Then we remelt it and we use it back. Now here I stop. I want to give you all things that we don't see, and we have been conditioned to see it this way, but actually the world has changed. We may not realize. It's just like a ChatGPT kind of thing. Let me give you the first part. You know, using this scrap and buying original ingot. Which one sounds clean? Right? Let me tell you, in a very short time from now, in the near future, scrap will be more expensive than ingots. Yes, scrap has become gold. 30 years ago, Malaysia was abused. If you can remember, 30 years ago, all the Southeast Asian plastic went to where? Came into Malaysia. Right? People import plastic after plastic. We see so much articles about it, right? And then Malaysia tried to control. We are not a tong sampah lah. But guess what? Scrap is going to be more expensive than ingots. Why? Let me share now. Give you a perspective. My raw material, ingots, right? If it is coal power, that means my vendor uses TNB electricity to produce the ingot for me. Let's use it as 100% carbon emission. It emits a lot. I can tell you the number. It's 16,000 metric tons of carbon dioxide. 16,600 tons of carbon dioxide produced for 1 metric ton of ingot. 1 to 16.6. That is coal power ingot. Now, if someone says I don't use TNB electricity, I use hydropower. Then let me share with you, from that 16.6, it reduced to 8.6. That means hydropower, which is considered half carbon rate, produces half. Is the cost going to be the same as coal power? Obviously not, but not at the moment, not too much higher, still tolerable. It will go up for sure. Scrap, if you use scrap, in the establishment of regulation and standards, whenever you use scrap, it is considered zero. That's why scrap is going to be sourced all over, very expensive. Imagine the $90 that you have to pay now, right? If you use scrap, it means you don't have to pay. You have eliminated the 40%. Just want to give you the context. The other context is, I mentioned just now, aluminium is a beautiful material. It has this inherent character. As long as you melt it, no matter how many times you use it, as long as you melt it, it goes back to its original form. So you keep the specs. So in a way, let me share with all of you, it is not because Alcock is great, it's because Alcock deals with aluminium. So aluminium has this. The other thing I want to mention, which is very relevant to all of you, remember the codes. 3105, AA3105. This is a type of aluminium that is promoted by Alcock. The other type is AA3003. These are the two main types. Why? These two types of aluminium is used for roofing around the world. Now, 3003 fetches a better price, also fetches a little bit better margin. But I would like to share with everyone, since day one we started business, we have always pushed for 3105. Why? 3105 is the best, most greenest aluminium you can find in the world. It can take on more than 95% scrap and maintain the specifications. 3003 is very friendly. It can take up to 70% and maintain the specification, but still 70% scrap. Give you a relativity here, still not more than 15%. Alright? Not more than 15%. And that's the best greenest steel you can find in the whole world. But aluminium, 3003, 70%, 3105, up above 95%. Let me give everyone a report today. 3105 that we have been defending hard, even though it's not the best business proposition for us. We have been defending this for Malaysia. So Malaysia, we always introduce, don't use 3003, 3105. The only reason you will use 3003 is when you have to have a lipat mati. That means you're using ceiling profile, then you use 3003, no choice. Other than that, please use 3105 because it's fully recyclable. Now, I also want to report this. In the month of July, in the month of August, we used 95% scrap for our production of this alloy. Last month, we used 85%. We used to have a performance of only being able to use 50% scrap the month before and even lower before. You ask why? It is our best last 3 months, it is our best quarter in terms of recycled use. It's our commitment to sustainability. But why 50%? Ladies and gentlemen, is because we don't have scrap. We don't have it. Finish. No more scrap. Then you don't know what to do. That's why we want this circularity. And this is the part where I come back to this graph. This here, green color 5% means this is the blue box that Alcom plays in only. That's it. No matter what we do in sustainability, we can only have 5% of the whole supply chain. What does this mean? When the ingots come in, 95% of the carbon already emitted to the environment. So suddenly you see how important the raw material for my supplier is. They emit 95%. Okay? This guy and this guy, big time. This is all the way to bauxite mine already. Yeah? So what is the solution? Because we deal with aluminium, we have this option. 95% target scrap hydropower ingots. So if I would say hydropower ingots is reduced to 50, then we are 50% of where we are. If we use scrap 95%, that means it's zero coming. We have improved to a single digit from 100%. Right? And this is only because aluminium can do it. I want to give you all that perspective. Next, I'll talk a little bit more about this shortly, not to worry. 75% of aluminium produced in the world still in use today. This is how recyclable aluminium is. It's considered green metal, especially just now I mentioned 70 to 100% scrap can be used to maintain the specs. Yeah? This one, not so much. Just want to share with you all. Remember Brex? I forgot to name this now. Our investment of 550 million in Alcom, we call it Brex, not Brexit. But Brex stands for what? Bukit Raja. We are in Bukit Raja Industrial Estate in KL, near Klang. Bukit Raja expansion. So we call it Brex. That Brex 550 million, what do we want to achieve? Our current state, we start at 02 lah. 01 is just us wanting to have more business. When we invest, we double our capacity lah, right? We want to reduce the dependency on coal power ingots. We want to have sole dependence on LME. This one I mentioned about AI already just now, so I won't stress. 04 we will talk shortly about solar power. All right, and the future states. This is our fundamental of reliability, right? And last but not least, as well, safety, because it's part of sustainability as well. This is what we want to get to in 5 years' time. 5 years' time, yeah? Okay, we are going to the content already. So what is this carbon scope? What does it cover? We talk about legal. What is in that we have to do? Just now I mentioned 3 scopes, scope 1, scope 2, scope 3. Scope 1 refers to direct emission. That means in Alcom's own processing, how much gas CO2 did we emit? Right? So that's the definition, scope 1. We have to measure and calculate that. So you look at the third column, there's this word CCU. CCU refers to carbon capture utilize. Carbon capture, utilize, or you can say capture, convert, utilize. What does this mean? It's a technology to put all our carbon dioxide or carbon emission that we into a chamber, right? CO2. Then we introduce calcium oxide. There will be a reaction, that's where the conversion happens. And then what comes out from this is actually calcium carbonate. And what is calcium carbonate? The main ingredient of toothpaste. So this CCU is here, right? The issue is this. Although it's commercialized, in Malaysia it's used sparingly in concrete cement industries only. We have gotten the vendors to come in, we have had a discussion with them, and from my own field, I don't feel that it's very optimistic. Right? They are supposed to come back to us December this year for a proposal. They want to transit that technology to our kind of products. And you look at this, the fourth column, we talk about hydrogen. Right? Hydrogen means replacing natural gas with hydrogen. The reaction is not carbon dioxide, right? Hydrogen is okay, right? But the issue is, this is only pilot test. Worldwide, there is no such thing as commercialized hydrogen energy for plants yet. And we ourselves at Elcom have our second gas. You know, we operate our factory at 800 to 1000 degrees Celsius. If we have a leakage of hydrogen, we've got a big bomb in Bukit Rajah. Right? So that's another part, and that's why it's taking us some time. We are looking at it and saying when this mature, maybe 2030. But because Elcom has been investing, we've been going to green conferences one after another internationally, big ones, and the most recent one in Shanghai, we actually unearthed a new technology, is commercialized, invited immediately the vendor to come and see us, and when they looked at our process, they said, hey, can do. They are very positive. Again, November is the deadline for the proposal because they have to transit whatever they use in this energy to our kind of manufacturing. They have already audited us. This is the new technology of what we call low temperature oxyfuel, LTOF. So it's definitely carbon friendly. However, cost don't know yet. Right? We also have to verify what they say can do. But this is one of the biggest companies in the world as well. Right? So we're working on this, scope 1, and you can see that we are being conservative. But if LTOF kicks in, I can share with everyone for scope 1, Elcom may hit carbon zero in 2025, 5 years ahead. Right? Scope 2. Scope 2 is referring to indirect emissions of carbon. Very simply put for you to understand. Electricity from TNB. We use electricity from TNB, but TNB generates their electricity to us using coal power. Not good for carbon. Right? So what do we do? Because of BREX. I share BREX just now for one reason only. Our investment of not for share. Right? Not for share. Not to show that our shareholders have so much, $500 million they want to invest. But to share with you that because we are going to invest on this BREX, it was easier for us to convince our shareholders, hey, add on 20 million here, add on this one, and then we got them on the bandwagon of sustainability. If we are going to suddenly approach my boss and say, hey, you know what, hey, come on, let's invest 25 million sustainability, all this benefit, it's very difficult for them to see the business sense. So we are fortunate, timely, we invest. Alright, so first thing I want to say is solar on the roof. Solar on the roof. Just now you remember I said 11 acres is our build-up, right? Our land area is 31 acres, right? Because of BREX expansion, doubling our capacity, our final factory will be 27 acres. From 11 acres become 27 acres. Let me tell you, the full 27 acres of roof will be solar. On top and above of that, the car park also solar. Alright, so it would be a huge solar thing on the roof plus car park. But ladies and gentlemen, it only produces 30% of our consumption. Alright, 30% only, tak cukup. We use up the space on the roof already. Let me also share with you privately, what is our electricity bill a month? 1 month we pay 1.5 million. So it saves us 500,000, but the investment is 21 million. So not enough, what are we going to do? We, few months back, started an initiative. We started to work on what we call as virtual power purchase agreement. What does this mean? We will be the corporate citizen, we will be the investor, we will be the one who puts out the capital. My partner will be the one who erects and manages the place. And then there is a tri-party, because it's tri-party. The arbitrator, Dong Nam, the one in the center is TNB. They will facilitate and make sure everything is regulated fairly. We have actually bought a piece of land, we gotten the approval, earmarked a piece of land, booked it. It's in Kedah. We are going to own our own solar farm. We are going to have that solar farm, and that solar farm produces 100% of our 1.5 million consumption. What does that mean? That means 100% plus 30%, we are producing 130% of what we consume. This is why, ladies and gentlemen, by 2025, we will be not a common word. People always say carbon zero, carbon neutral. In scope 2, Alcom will be carbon negative. We are producing more than what we are consuming. Alright? So that's scope 2. Let me put everything into perspective now. Remember scope 1, direct emission. Scope 2, indirect emission. All done, explained. Before I go to scope 3, scope 1 and 2 covers product carbon footprint. Law in the world doesn't cover scope 3 yet. There is a way to do calculation. That calculation is called life cycle analysis. Is Alcom doing it? Yes, we are doing it. We are already started that process. What is life cycle analysis? Life cycle analysis, you can see, it's all about vendors, and to us the big part, that 95% is all ingot. So we have engaged everyone else into all the way to bauxite mines, right, to get all this aligned. Okay, so that's the part about scrap and hydropower. With this, I just give everyone a quick timeline. In terms of certification and verification, January next year. In terms of solar roof, we have already started our restructure and also re-roofing. And in this case, this will start in November as well, our roofing, and then the solar farm all the way. Want to share this as well. By 2025, Alcom producing this kind of products will be the first factory around the whole world to be using 100% renewable energy. Right? Hydropower, carbon available anytime you can start, and we're going to talk about scrap shortly as well. These are talking about what? My customers in Europe. These factories over there, 6-7 factories, 30,000 employees and operators in these 6-7 factories. For them to change their scrap waste, they throw their scrap, steel, plastic, their vendors come in lorries, take them out of the factory, easy. We tell them, hey, you got to give me back your scrap, and you have to segregate not only the aluminium, you have to segregate this type of alloy from this type of alloy from this type of alloy, put it into a ship, pay for the ship, send it back to us. And then they ask us, Alcom, are you all crazy or what? But we remind them, how about the $90 per metric ton? Oh, so they started their initiative to cooperate with us. Right? So that's the part. Block 5, the solutions. I'm running a bit late, so I'll try to run as fast as possible. This is all about what we offer to the market and what we can help our value add. I compare this with steel because generally steel is the major material. You look at it, it's a definitely corrosion-based material. It corrodes if there is no coating. That's why coating dependent. And mind you, just to remind everyone, color doesn't give us protection. We sometimes get confused. It's the zinc color or alu-zinc coating that provides the protection. Alright, whether it's 150 grams or 200 grams per meter square. High depletion value, this is an example that I would say, a friend of mine said, if I erect the factory today, unfortunately for whatever reasons tomorrow I have to take it down, sorry lah, you invest about 9 ringgit material of steel, tomorrow you take it down, the scrap is 30 cents. Right? High heat absorption because it's a very hot material. What about aluminium? We talk about sustainability, we talk about recyclability. This is the next page, buyback guarantee. Thermal efficiency and reflectivity makes aluminium very cool. We'll talk about it one page. Definitely we'll talk about extended warranty by aluminium anytime. Alright, and then this is lightweight, workability, ductile, you can curve and taper. We won't talk so much today. Okay, buyback guarantee, let's look at the photo. Some dates for you. This building is what we call internally as 001. 001, first plant, in other words. It was re-roofed in 2015. This photo that you see is in 2017. Look at it. In my years of being a roofing guy in steel, I've never seen roofs. I've seen roofs perforated pinholes like this one, totally gone. What comes out from the gap, ladies and gentlemen, is actually 45 to 50 degrees of acid fumes. Very extreme. That's why within 2 years this whole thing is gone. This building was supposed to be flashing capping, also aluminium, but because it's the first building, rushed, they forgot to change the flashing capping. 2 years later it became like that. We received a call, went there, checked that photo. Tan Sri, who owns this building, really gave a whack to his project team. Right? Why did you not change it? From there onwards until today, 8 years later, we are on the 54th block already, nationwide. Okay? Let me give this perspective. Prices of LME, London Metal Exchange, aluminium, you just go Google, London Metal is daily, go up, down like share market. What we guarantee is 60% buyback. 60%. This is no color, color 50 times exchange rate. So for example, last year in March, I called Tan Sri, hey Tan Sri, remember your 01? You want to change or not? Alright? He went and checked 2 days later, he came back, no need, still standing, okay, no need to change. $3,542 in March was a record high aluminium price. At that same commensurating time, steel also highest. So you work it out with the exchange rate is 15 ringgit per kg for aluminium, 11 ringgit for steel. Now come here, if it's 60%, we will pay him for the scrap after 7 years, 9 ringgit. So after using 7 years, his real expenses is only 6 ringgit for the material per kg. Now I want to give you that perspective. The other issue that Tan Sri had when he came in 2015, he wanted to convert. I've been using steel every decade. I've been looking for solutions for decades. I changed to PVC, plastic. Why? I put extra coating every 3 years. But guess how long it lasts? 15 months maximum. Re-roofing in Tan Sri's business is not CAPEX. It is OPEX. The general manager had to put in every less than 1.5 years had to put in re-roofing. They keep on changing. Now, take a look. When Tan Sri came and talked to us, he asked for how many years warranty, Typical, 25 years. If you use a lower grade, 15 years. Right? Tan Sri asked only 3 years. Hey, your aluminium can tahan 3 years. We were shocked. 3 years. So we negotiated because we are also apprehensive first building. We said, hey, mutually we agreed on 2 years. We gave them 2 years warranty. I want everyone to know, last year is 2022, 7 years later, the building is still standing. 7 years. But in 7 years, if he had used steel, he had to change 4 times. Let me put the maths for you. 11 ringgit, maybe he gets back 10 ringgit, 4 times 40 ringgit. He would have used 40 ringgit. Alright? On top of that, the dismantling, the installation, another 20 ringgit. So he had paid 60 ringgit in that 7 years for steel, as opposed to what? 6 ringgit aluminium. Now let me share with you 2 more secrets. The first secret is this. The disruption time of 2 to 3 weeks downtime every time you change to 4 times. That's a huge cost. Operational cost. Number 2, in 2015, Tan Sri invested only 1. Yes, this is very common for steel. Want to share with you, we have 4. Nature, elegance, supreme, infinite. Nature is no color. We always advocate color. Remember, we say natural, natural, natural. No coating, no color, that's the best. Right? But sometimes 30 meters high, 2 degrees pitch. You don't go into a shopping mall to shop looking at the roofing, and I don't want to go shopping already. You don't buy a house even looking at it. But people tend to get misguided to say color, we need color on the roofing for what? Nobody sees it at 30 meters. So that's why we always go nature. But nevertheless, we also have 3 types of color. This is our economical range. Economical range compared to premium range. 5 years better. If you go to our premium range, there's no comparison. Standard environment. Generally, I want to say we provide 5 years extended warranty to standard environment. What about if the environment is extreme? Just now 2 years becomes 7 years already, right? If it's extreme environment, let's just use seaside or do anything near 200 meters from the sea. For any other material, it's not published commitment. They will say, call me, I'll go to the site, I check, then I tell you. And they will probably tell you, upgrade to enhance, I give you 15 years. You want to use the premium down to 8 years, 7 years. Whereas our economical, this is our published standard, no need to ask us to go and see the site. Unless there's chemical building on top of the seaside. Otherwise, this is published 15 years basic. It's more than 5 years. Just to give everyone that feel. Last one, or not last one, this one is on thermal efficiency. Red color denotes steel, grey color denotes aluminium. The difference is in yellow color. Aluminium reflects. It doesn't want to take heat, it reflects heat. Number 2, when it takes heat, it's a superconductor. What does it mean? It takes heat, it throws heat. It takes heat, it throws heat. Aluminium is less than half of, the melting point of aluminium is less than half of galvanized steel. But yet it takes more energy to melt it down. Right? Because it takes energy, it throws away the heat. That's why at 6 o'clock you see it peaks at 6 degrees. Why? At 6 o'clock steel is still absorbing energy from the sunset. And it's still retaining the heat. But aluminium reflects the lower energy from the sun, at the same time it's thrown away all the heat. That's why it peaks at 6 o'clock. Right? But generally it's 4 to 5 degrees. Ladies and gentlemen, customers of ours and customers will have to blow less air conditioning. We are also working around the template to say, hey, can we meet a 0.4 using this? Because all this data is not done by us, it's done by ceiling. It has data, we measure the wall, we measure the atmosphere. Right? Last but not least, one part here on solar. So we are so much in solar. Business-wise, we have a partner. Progressive Solar is our partner. Last year, because I climbed the roof, I saw a client putting solar on their own. Not only it's a bit more expensive, but he put it on the most corrosive part of the roof. Now think of this, it triggered me, because why most of my clients are in extreme environment. Extreme environment means they use high temperature. Means what? They need solar, no brainer, best for their operational costs. But the issue is a lot of people don't see it that way. When they put solar, they forget they are penny-wise, pound-foolish. Put a sports car, don't change the roof. You want the sports car to serve you 30 years, but the roof after 5 years perforated, what's going to happen to the sports car? Right? So that gave me an idea, it mooted me, it pushed me. I spoke to the founders of my partners, we started to work very hard, and in second half of last year we went to MIDA, and MIDA has allocated only Alcom and aluminium from Alcom gets that 48% GTA double tax deduction as well. So what does this mean? If an owner is going to invest on solar when he's decided, or he's going to change solar, might as well change the roof. Why? I get 48% this deduction of tax for my solar. Anyone in the market will offer the same thing, but with aluminium from Alcom, my roofing gets 48%. There's a cap, 50% of it. If your solar is 2 million investment, only 1 million of your roofing investment gets this 48%. If you have a super roof, 1.3 million, sorry, the 300,000, you will get 48%. That's the only cap. We park ourselves under the solar guide. That means owners deal with one person. Anyway, with solar, the owner has to deal with directly with the owner. Why? Owner in their claims with LHDN has to provide major documents like LA from their company. Payment they paid already, baru they can claim money. So it always goes there. We park them ourselves there, everything of the 48% done. Looking at the design, all the way from government's approval to design, to the detailings, to the installation, to the project management, everything else comes under one roof. Now, if the project of solar and roofing comes and warranty for installation is still in there, say for example 2 years, sometimes there's minor leakages here and there, right? The owner goes to the solar guys are just a solar guy. The owner goes to the roofing guy will tell you, first time I do for you, second time I charge you, third time I will be probably telling you, hey, by right you put a solar, your warranty is void. Right? So it gets frustrated, but you get a converged one after sales service. Want to give you all the last part of the table. This is a real case study, 17,000 meters square. We went in halfway and proposed. Nature, no color, 1.56 million. This is supply and install cost, by the way. The owner wanted color, so he's paying 300,000 more. You see again, he's paying color for image, whatever, on the roof. Right? And if he had used clean color board, clip lock system, same combination of build-up, the investment is 1.76 million or 1.77 million. Because there's a 48% savings. Now he gets extended 5 years warranty. If he used no color, he saves 53%. If he used color to color, again 5 years warranty and extended, he saves 43%. This is where sustainability comes in, and the owner gets more than what he bargains for. Right? I want to say one thing: if you put solar on the roof, 90% of it covered. I don't understand why you still want cover. But as it is, I want to say that operational cost excellence for the owner, because why they don't pay the P&B bill. Sustainable lifespan for the solar, because this is one of the best roof systems, it will protect it. And again, because aluminium is cool, it doesn't radiate heat to the back panel of the solar. Therefore, the solar performs better. Last but not least, this savings does not include the change of route. That means typically roofing goes to main con. This one goes straight to solar. There is a 5 to 10% that is not calculated here as well. So this is that last page on what we have as offer. I want to just sum up to say we have extended warranty, we are much cooler material, more sustainable in terms of using aircon costs and whatnot. We have our solar, and we have our 60% buyback. If I sum for you, if someone goes with solar 48% right at the end of the year when they claim their tax, 60% 30 years later, practically the roof is free. Right? So that's the part that I want to sum to. I'm coming to the end. I just enjoy a video, right, for everyone. I wanted to end the conclusion today with this video, and wanted to take this opportunity to share and take with everyone as well. If you look at the video, the stress that they had before they met Mother Nature, and then you look at it when they gave good news and she left, they celebrated, right? So there's this saying about no pains, no gains. Right? So what we are doing for sustainability and for the world actually takes pains. For us as a corporate citizen manufacturing R&D, for the end customers, investment, maybe additional a little bit. But I just want to give that sample or example to all of you. When we started our solar, it was not part of the REX program. When we put in our solar of 20 over million on the roof and that PPA agreement for solar power, we do it because our clients want us to be sustainable and we believed in it. Suddenly it made us a favorite supplier, right? But we did it for that. But then later we realized one thing: we saved 1.5 million of electricity bill a month. We didn't know there's this kind of value proposition that comes in. Our job, corporate citizen, give the R&D reason. Investors invest so they can get more out of it. All of you are catalysts, the one who designs and decides on the material. Your pains will come. Hopefully with this value add, you can convince the client to say, hey, you pay a little bit more for the short term, but in the long term you get much more. Right? There are ways out of all this. It's not just putting money in for the wrong reasons. But I'd like to get everyone back there to say that we are not doing it for all this business. I plead that we understand that we are doing it for our future generation. Our children, our future. It's for them. And that's where we take the pain now. If we don't, it's all talk. So I can only say parting two parts. Number one, if you want to do this, we do it because we are focused, we are passionate, and the key word is being intentional. Purposely want to do it. If it doesn't get there, we know. So I end my time thanking everyone for the time and patience. Sorry, I'm very late. Will you do this is the question I ask everyone with. Thank you very much. Good afternoon.
Okay, in the famous words of Arnold Schwarzenegger, I am back. So, thanks for taking my time. Yes, I don't like to talk much. I tend to like to use my works to express my thoughts and feelings rather than my talk. Okay, actually, the next one will be on AI generated art. Okay. So let me start off with what AI-generated artworks has achieved over the years. Okay, the first one is CryptoPunk's NFT. Anyone into NFTs? No? Okay. It's okay. NFT is not a sexual disease. It's basically non-fungible tokens. Okay. It is basically sold in Ethereum. Okay, cryptocurrency, and these are actually like the blue chip of cryptocurrency. Each image here is actually worth 45 Ethereum, which translates to 1592 USD. Okay, you are looking at about 6,000-7,000 ringgit per image. Okay. So the thing is, this was actually designed. It's not designed, it was generated using AI. So what happened was that back then, they actually have all these character heads. There are 10,000 of them, by the way. And each character attributes, like their glasses, their hats, and all these, are actually randomly assigned to each character using AI. Okay, so this is how it's generated. And this is the highest grossing, highest sold NFT, which is CryptoPunk 5822. It is worth USD 30 million now. Okay, back then it was 26 million, maybe double, when cryptocurrency was at its peak. Okay. So, yeah, this was done in, using AI. Now, this is Theatre d'Opéra Spatial. Okay, it's probably French for space opera theatre. Okay, so it is an artwork that actually it was actually submitted to Colorado State Fair annual art competition, and it won the first prize for this digital category. Okay. It was back in 2022, and okay, since I don't have time, I won't go into the details. This is the electrician. The title of the photography entry is called The Electrician. Even back then in the 1960s, working as an electrician. It won the Sony World Photograph Award, first prize for creative category. Submitted by this guy, Boris Actux. And probably, what happened was, he won the first prize, but he didn't want to collect the prize. He rejected it. What he was doing was to send a message to people that, AI is coming up in a new category. This is a graphic novel comic done by Chris Castronova. I'm actually friends with her in Instagram, and she's actually a refugee from Ukraine who migrated to the US, and she's now working at Adobe developing AI for Firefly, Photoshop. And what she did back then, this was actually last year, in September of the time, she used famous characters like Zendaya, and she used it to generate a comic, use it to do backgrounds, and she put the words in. Okay. Back then there was no ChatGPT, so she actually put the words there. This is done using stable diffusion. Now you can actually have QR codes with pictures there. So it looks like it's good for business. If you are selling pictures, you can actually do this. Don't simply scan. Actually, few of them work. If you scan, you can test it out. Actually, it's safe. But sometimes if you scan it and they download a virus onto your place, take your money, get all your dirty secrets. This is also done using stable diffusion. What it does is it's actually Mona Lisa in case you cannot see. Interpreted in different ways, in bacon, in patty, in forest, sand. Now, the AI that I'm going to expound on is actually Midjourney. Of course, there are so many others. Even Photoshop has AI now. The journey started when one of my friends actually posted a photo on Facebook saying that he's exploring this thing called Midjourney. And back then it was about this time. About here, V3. Okay. Sorry, this is supposed to be 223. This is V3, and it looks dodgy. He was just doing some planet and some space shit. And I looked at it, I was like, whoa. It's a simple image, but looks like there's potential. Okay. These are the versions that Midjourney has over the years. So from V1 until V5.1, now it's 5.2. And back then at V3, I looked at the image and was like, whoa, this is going to change the world. It's like, it's just, and when I tested the app, it was like, talk about, to come up to this quality and the high resolution image, it takes about 10 minutes back then. Now at 5.2, it takes about 30 seconds. And the image is way better. So the progression of the quality of the image being generated here, it becomes from inconsistent and your eyes one big, one small, one up, one down, and then towards the end it becomes very realistic. Okay, using the same prompt. This is a more relatable character. Okay, Mr. Bean, V1 was like this, V2, V3, V4, V5. So V version. So it becomes more and more real. Okay, more and more resolved. So yeah, Midjourney nowadays you can actually have very photorealistic kind of images. I think Midjourney is a lot better at 3D animation characters. Okay, so this is just to make you happy. Now, of course, Midjourney has its flaws. This is when you prompt salmon in the river, and Midjourney, it scrapes all the info from the internet. Salmon is a sashimi that we eat, and so it generates salmon in the river, this kind of salmon. Okay. People start to make memes and jokes, like the second one, the rock and Emma Stone had a baby, rock, stone, baby. Catwalk. Okay. Elvish Presley, Elvis in elven armor. Of course, it has its flaws in the beginning. So from here, you see he was trying to generate a ballet dancer. Obviously supposed to be 2 legs, but he was like conflicted. Should I do this pose or this pose? And her generated 3 legs. Hands was a huge problem during V3, V4. I think V4 they resolved it. Before that, hands were like this, they try to generate hands and then it doesn't make sense. Now like this, it merged into the face of the character that it generated. This is an example of hands in the early stages. Look at it, you know it's a hand, but it's so wrong. It's just like human beings. When we first started drawing human anatomy, the hands tend to be the hardest part for us to master. Okay, so yeah, it was like this for 6 months, and I did it. After that, now it's like this already. Okay, good as well as scary. Now, there are some architects out there which are actually championing the usage of AI. For example, Zaha Hadid architects, okay, Patrick Schumacher. He's actually very vocal about it, be more positive and less paranoid about technology. So Zaha Hadid is actually, I've met some people not say that, I do follow some people who are from Zaha Hadid, like these two characters, these two architects, Chantal Mata and Tim Fu. If you are into art daily, you probably see you have seen some of their works. Okay, so they use AI, they use Midjourney to do generative artwork to test forms and materials, that sort of thing. Tim Fu, on the other hand, went on further, as far as I know, to develop this AI app called Look AI. So what it is supposed to be capable of doing is that if you have a picture of something, put it there, and then it can generate buildings out of it. What happens was that Look AI is actually trained using architectural images. Okay? Keep on teaching it building images, das facade, 3D model, sort of thing. It will actually learn, and it's geared towards specifically on architectural images. Midjourney is very good. No battery. So this is what Look AI can do. Put an acorn there and turn into a building. See, it's actually they upload this image and then this is what you can generate out. Now, obviously I'm going to do some prompt testing for you to see. Just an introduction, prompt anatomy. Like I said just now, what you type is called prompt. So the guidelines for Midjourney to do a prompt is actually for this. You put the subject detail, the descriptive detail here, okay, and then you go on to the activity that it does, and then the scene, the setting, the background here, atmosphere, ambience, what kind of style you want, and later it's the parameters, whether it's landscape, portrait, and these are actually settings that you can set before we generate the image. Now, before I start, anyone here actually uses Midjourney? None. Okay. If you use it, then probably you don't even need to see what I do. But just to show roughly what it does before I proceed. Okay, this is the landing page for Midjourney. Basically, it's a CMS content management system of what the images that have been generated previously. Okay, as you can see, I did not generate anything dodgy. So this is the part that it actually keeps a gallery that keeps all the images that they have generated, and it can also see what other people have generated in the community. Okay, this is obviously a dark reader of the past design. Okay, so these are the things that other people have generated. What happens is that we can see what everyone else is doing, unless we pay to have our things hidden. I pay to get it hidden. The good thing about this is we actually learn from each other. We take each other's works, we learn from them, see how to improve. That is what AI is all about now. Trying to make AI smarter, improve it, give feedback, and so that it knows what is good and what is bad. Now, going to where we actually do the work, we actually do it in Discord. It is a platform where I find it probably better than WhatsApp in running a company. You can actually folder, all your projects, and then this is where each project can have all the work's being done. You can send files, tag people in, do a lot of company things. Now I'm going to start prompting. Again, off my mic. Yes. Okay, it's just a simple prompt, minimalist modern villa with timber facade in a forest background. Okay, so it starts to generate things. It starts like this, and it begins to denoise the image itself. So as it progresses, it comes up more and more visually makes sense. So I think this was generated in 30 seconds. Okay, done. So it gives you 4 options. Okay, minimalist modern villa with timber facade and the forest background. So you see these 4, and what we can do next is to actually U or V. U is to upsize, V is to variation. So it's 1, 2, it's labeled as 1, 2, 3, 4. As you can see my cursor, 1, 2, 3, 4. You want this image, you want this image, you upsize this image. And then it becomes a bigger image, full screen. Okay. And if you like something like this, the second one, because you like it, and then you want to explore more options around this area. I mean this picture image. Then you press V2, it will do variations of this kind of similar design. Okay, so it starts to generate the images. So you can see the progress here, 31%. It's in fast mode, it's in stealth. Stealth means it's hidden from other people. Whatever I generate, other people cannot see. So back then, this process took about 5 minutes, 1 year ago. Now it just takes 30 seconds. And this is the variation of the building that was selected just now. Okay. I'll just show a bit of the settings. In settings, we can actually have different styles. Okay, raw mode is something very similar to reality, whereas stylized very high means it becomes very creative, very stylish. Okay, so if you want something more subtle, you go you go on the left side. If you want something more flamboyant or cinematic, you actually go for the right side. Okay, then you have a public mode that everyone see. Remix mode, you actually take another picture and remix into this picture. High variation. I use high variation or low. I use high variation instead of low, so that when it varies the picture, it varies in a very high, in a very different way, rather than vary a bit. Okay. I'm in fast mode because I'm showing now. What is the new turbo mode now? Okay. So roughly these are the settings we can do. Just to show a bit of parameters. We always do this with imagine prompt. So So what it does here is to do image generation using futuristic skyscraper. I'm using the aspect ratio of 9:16. 16:9 is horizontal, 9:16 is, you actually have different sort of ratios. But because it is a skyscraper, I want the building to look tall. I use a 9:16 aspect ratio. Okay, then it will start to generate. Back then, sometimes to generate, back then as in 1 year ago, when we generate an image, it tends to be all fuzzy and you know, some things don't make sense. And it probably takes about 20 generations to come to something that we actually like. But nowadays, whatever that it does, at the first attempt, it looks very decent already. Okay. So it's like this. Now, is it useful? Can I use this to submit to a client? If the client wants this to generate this, can I? Right? But if the client wants something else to generate this, continue trying on. So, is it easy to control? No, you don't have that much control. Of course, you use SketchUp or some other 3D softwares, you can have total control if you know how to do your 3D. But in terms of concept, in terms of visuals, and just to get the client to know what they are going to get, what it roughly looks like for like good board, that sort of things, we can actually use this. Now, continuing from the slides. To explain fully on Midjourney only, okay. This is generated using Midjourney. I'll start off with very simple buildings that you might be buildings that are more relatable and make sense. Okay. Tends to be squarish nowadays, simple, no need to worry, curve here, curve there, no problem. Interior, okay. Can even start to do a bit of a detailed close-up image. This is I was trying to do mass housing, you know, rather than just bungalows. Can we do terrace house? This is actually real. This is a building on a hill, like a hotel on a hill. Can do the interior as well, the bed, the dining, the place you can take off your clothes and bathe. Can do commercial buildings. I mean, these are just examples. Okay. Looks good enough. Looks like you can actually take the design and then start doing the actual drawings and plans. If you get this approved by the client. Some green buildings with balcony gardens, glass facade, large overhangs, interior, staircase. The staircase, this is considered a good one. A lot of staircases are generated without the railings. If you want to test out something different, you know, like what if we have a feature wall that is made of rusted panels? Okay. I mean, just to test things out. I wouldn't want to leave that. Sketches. It can actually sketch better than me. And so it's actually quite good. It actually looks like human sketches. And yeah, even with watercolor, you can actually set it to black and white, a lot of things. Models, physical models, you can actually do something that looks like a physical model. This is called knolling, a new word that I've learned because I look at other people's generated works. Knolling simply means the art of aesthetically arranging materials together. So this is a knolling of architectural physical models. You can use it to test colors and facade treatment. Sorry, this is actually not my feature. This is actually, I suspect this is actually done using Adobe Firefly, the AI built into Adobe. But it's good to explain. I think recently this thing went viral. Okay, if you receive this in WhatsApp, if you see it in ArtBaby, basically it takes the Sydney Opera House and it envisions it using different architects' design. So first is I think the way it was they actually selected this area, and then the prompt was to have Sydney Opera House in style of Zaha Hadid. So you have Frank Lloyd Wright, Gaudi, Le Corbusier, Frank Gehry. So it's something that you can actually use to explore different types of variations. Fish that looks like a plastic bag. A house that is made of life jackets. You know, these are crazy things that you can test it out. Some futuristic building that looks sexy. That brings to bad words. Certain words cannot be used. Okay, you don't allow some words that, you know, like gore, adult words, body parts, clothing also, you know, you can't have transparent clothing, sort of thing. Taboo drugs, you know, you try to foster a good user base of people. And some people actually ask me what happens if I try to use a bad word. Okay, so just now, now, again, if your moral compass is questionable, you want to generate this kind of hanky-panky stuff, which you're not supposed to, this is what happens. You actually ban your prompt, and then you know, tell you the reason why you're not allowed, sort of thing. And if you persistently try to do this kind of nonsense, I think about the 10th time they actually ban you for about 5 minutes, this sort of thing. And if you still keep on going, they actually have the rights to ban you altogether. Okay, so yes, please don't do this. The list of banned words evolve over time. Basically, they add more and more. They don't become less and less stringent. So back then, words like lingerie, they allow it. Okay, so you can actually imagine the interior of the adaptive reuse building. Okay, this is probably an old factory. That's probably an old colonial building. This is more of a warehouse that you are no longer using. This is using no longer using airplane and use it to do the interior or use the parts to be used as a feature for a cafe. So now I'll go into Unreal architecture. Basically, architecture that's not real. This is where you can do things like Star Wars and game-like scenes. Okay, so you can have building in various settings, you know, from volcano to ice. Imagine you are commissioned to do a special project like having a hotel under the water, you know, where you can sleep with the fishes swimming around you. Imagine a building a skyscraper that looks like an aquarium, you know, or a skyscraper that looks like jellyfish. You can do crazy things like sky architecture, anime style. Okay, sky architecture with a lot of gardens floating around. Okay, very beautiful. I can hear some anime song playing in my head already. Explore the different types of structures in the city, different types of elevation and sections. You know, it's like if you do enough, you can compile into a book already. This is interesting. Paradise hotel architecture in different destinations. Again, these are all explore concepts that just to open up our minds as to what each journey can do. And if I can do this, you should be able to do better. Santorini, Greece, Mount Fuji, Japan, Egypt, Fifi Island, Bali, Maldives, Antarctica and Iceland. These are just concept ideas. Looks very impressive. Lego architecture, something that I recently explored with. What if we use Lego to do buildings? Which, I mean, Lego already has the line of a series of things. But what if we can do our own designs? I put the logo there and architecture, and then adults need to have toys, so it has to be 18%. So this is called the Bloody Tree House. The Bumblebee House, because it looks like Bumblebee. The See Me Naked House, because it's all glass. See You Naked. Chisel House in Batu Pahat. The Ring House, model, middle of one ring to rule them all. Now, this is another funny story, sad story. I was tasked, I cannot review the project because due to the nature of the sensitivity of the project, but I was tasked to design the convention center, and the client wants it to look like a seashell. So, but before I was tasked, someone else was doing it, and then the person do, and I was supposed to oversee the other person, the junior. And the way I operate is, I do not do anything until you screw up. That's how I do. That's the back way of doing things. So what happens is, in the end, she screwed up. So I have to come in 3 days, write up a SketchUp proposal, and then, by the way, that project was 1 month, and I have the last 3 days to come in and save the situation. So on my side, I do the SketchUp and everything with the junior, and on the other side, we have to make it look like we do a lot of work. Okay, so we talk about biomimicry, how seashell structure, efficient, God, perfect designer. Then we do roof study, seashells. A seashell doesn't have to look like a seashell. It can look similar, but not the seashell. So we explore all the different types of seashell roofs. So keep on generating the form for it. It's amazing that you can actually generate all these, whereas for me to do a SketchUp and do this is going to take like 3 days, and I don't do anything else. But of course, it is not accurate. It's just images. Then we do like a bit of roof study, elevation, section. What happens if it's viewed from this point of view? And what we get from all these things is we actually learn certain things from AI. How we learn that from it? Is that there are certain principles that it generates, which actually help us on my side, which is actually doing the SketchUp model. And one of the principles is that the roof doesn't have to be the roof on top. It can also come down and merge into part of the landscape. And the roof can also be on top of a roof. Like imagine this is the dotted line is a roof, and then you actually need a secondary roof on top to cover the purple area. So it's like a roof on top of a roof, rather than we keep on fixated on covering the whole thing. So in the end, on my side, we actually generated this. This is like an open seashell, and you see a pearl, that sort of thing. And we also do this 3 days work. I mean, please forgive me. And the funny thing is, end of the day, presented to the client, The client said, hey, Joshua, go back to a few slides. This one, yes. Let's go for this one. Because it looks like an S. This S stands for the name of the developer. So, yeah, I lost to AI. And, this one went through. The good thing about it is, I don't have to. The client, after seeing all these things, they know what they want. Rather than if I just gave this option, then the client says, oh, don't like, I cannot explain why. That is the worst kind of comment you can get. And then you keep on changing, and you don't know why what you're changing. But at least the good thing that came out of it is you can move from this direction. Okay. So later on, they bought another piece of land, want to transfer the whole convention center to another piece of land. So now doing KM all again. So the next project, this is entry submission for Evolo skyscrapers. I did it with one of my friends, architect Kwa. Basically, what we did was, you know, the limestone. When you travel from the north-south highway, you actually see the parts of Ipoh, whereby the mountains is being, the limestone hill is being quarried for limestone. And I was thinking, what if we can stop all this? But once we stop all this, there's still this thing to view. And what if we can actually save the place, turn it into a city, and have buildings incorporated into the limestone hill. Okay. So, I mean, this all doesn't make sense, but it's just a concept idea, you know, Evolo skyscraper. So, try to do a section. By the way, in Para, if you have, there's a certain requirement whereby your buildings cannot be within 50 feet to the mountain, that sort of thing. So, this really doesn't make sense. Then I went a bit further. This was done in 2013. This is 2023. 2023, yeah, like January. So 10 years later, 10 EG for AI, nothing to do. I further elaborated on the designs. And you know, what if you have a futuristic building, glass facade, incorporated into a building, and you know, then we continue to explore this crazy idea. Okay. And we actually have a view from inside out as well. This is interesting. I asked you to do a section. Doesn't make sense yet, but in January you can do this. So this is another lucky generation, so it looks like kind of like a section to each other in the section of a perspective. This is 2 weeks ago. This is January, this is 2 weeks ago. Again, the same concept of the limestone hill, city built around it. It's so detailed now. It's so realistic now, it looks like it came out from a movie. This reminds me of the cave temple. You go up and you go to like land before time. Let's see. Terrace building rather than skyscraper. A lot of escalators and stairs. Yeah, so that ends for my idea. The next one is a new one of the features that they roll out for Midjourney, which is called the zoom out. In Photoshop, it's actually called generative refill. Basically, you ask it to refill the surrounding areas. But for Midjourney, it's called zoom out. You generate the surrounding areas. So this is a good example. You know, Jack and Rose, you jump and jump, and the frame here was the original image. And then probably the prompt here is, you know, imagine Jack and Rose surfing on the sea, and then it does this. I like to pull this kind of examples because it gives you something that is doable and something crazy, right? So that when they merge together, you see the actual application. It also has errors, you know. This is the original one, and then you ask it to generate, you know, comes out like this. Okay. So it's still learning. I'm sure in due time it will actually correct this. This was shown in Daniel's slides just now. So if you see, this is the first image generated, and then we zoom out. But once you zoom out, we are not really in control. The original prompt will govern the entire zoom out process. Okay. So yeah, you zoom out, it can also be zoomed in. So this is one of the features for Midjourney. Now, so yeah, those were explorations of what Midjourney can do. Now we touch a bit on sustainable design, and still exploring. You know, basically, what if we have a sustainable city, you know, a lot of trees, another feature, curved building, large overhead. So this is something very green, very futuristic, living pots, garden pots. Okay. Actually, the prompt from this drone, you know why I come up with this. Future living, a villa with aluminum panel, curve. I even tested curve timber. Gardens, multi-layered tiered gardens, wind capture buildings with wind turbines, building that generates hydroelectricity. I mean, obviously it doesn't work, but it's just to test the idea. What if I merge hydro and wind power into one building? This was just done like 1 day ago, yesterday morning. Geothermal, a bit boring, but geothermal. Oh, this one is like, oh, what if it's geothermal in Star Wars? And, oh, red color, energy. Okay, solar panels. So what, you know, we have the option of using solar panels, but what are the possible things that can come out of a solar panel rather than just, you know, covering as much area as possible? So this is you know, ecological and energy efficient solar panel rate in tropical Malaysia, Thailand. So you can see the surrounding. Very nice view to study, very cooling. Something more industrial, you know, solar panels or in a roof structure. I put sunshine there so that, you know, you see more light and happier image rather than it generates evening or night scene. Curved roof panels, solar panel or curved roof. Then, speaking of solar panel, do you know that the TIE fighters in Star Wars, the wings are actually solar powered? Okay, so this was about 1970s, 1980s. So back then, even the bad guys cares about the environment. Okay? So if you think you are good, you should care even more. So it actually inspired me to do another series of images. What if we want to adaptively reuse a Star Destroyer and turn it into a hotel in paradise? Of course, the scale is off. Star Destroyer is like 1 kilometer long. Again, I like to put these kind of examples because you don't see Star Destroyers and green gardens on the internet, so it really generated by itself. So this is a hotel. The interior of it, If you're a bad guy, you probably like this dark, mysterious. Then what about the rooms? You know, Darth Vader, the hotel room that with a Darth Vader theme. You know, Darth Maul, Emperor Palpatine. Boba Fett. Okay, probably you're a good guy, you're not a bad guy. We'll see. Millennium Falcon. Okay. The interior, Rebels base, inspired. Okay. The war room table. What about the interior of it? You can have a Yoda room, you can have Chewbacca room, R2-D2, C-3PO, Luke, Princess Leia, Slave Princess Leia. I mean, I really like this. I mean, you see the surrounding is very nice. Of course, all these images to convey the message. These are Photoshop. Okay, you don't get the Princess Leia. I generated the interior. I photoshopped Princess Leia there to show you Princess Leia inspired image. Then, knowing what it can actually do is pretty scary. There will be a lot of people saying negative things about taking over artists' jobs. Yeah, losing our jobs. We better do something. These people are not right. They're taking our image and training it. And on the other side, there will be some people who are actually positive. Usually, those who cannot draw, they're positive because now they suddenly can draw. Then there's this ban AI campaign in ArtStation. ArtStation is where people, artists, upload their works. You want to find good artists, you go there and find them. So there's this, everyone start to upload, all those artists start to upload, ban AI. And the funny thing is, you call yourself artist, but then you keep copying other people's ban AI logo and use it on yourself. Okay. And then they realize that then the ban AI starts to get more creative. Then everyone is designing their own ban AI. Okay. It's a good step. And in some Facebook pages, they don't allow us to upload AI generated images. Okay? This is for photography. And again, they use AI generated image. Some artists are more receptive towards this idea. They actually use it to generate kits, books, turn it into a product sellable. There are some artists who already have their own style, like this guy, and he uses AI to replicate more of his works in his own style. Okay. Now, with what AI can do, is it actually? You probably want to know: is it actually a good thing or bad thing? Am I actually using other people's work? The question of ethics come into play. That was what being featured on page 2 weeks ago. So, for that, we need to know how AI works in terms of generative art. But the thing is, Midjourney doesn't reveal all this information. The closest we can get is actually through Stable Diffusion, another AI, which explains how AI is how the AI process. First, they actually start learning. Okay, they learn from all the images on the internet. For example, cat, they keep looking at cat images, cat, blue cat, red cat, yellow cat, thunder cat. And then it starts to encode it. That means, okay, this is blue cat, this is thunder cat, this is Hello Kitty. Okay, and later they quantize it and then turn it into tokens. Basically, it starts to understand the attributes of it. A blue cat has blue color. Okay, Garfield has stripes. It's orange, and it starts to have this kind of tokens whereby orange stripes and that kind of attributes to a cat. And after that, it starts to denoise into a final image. So it's basically like how humans learn. I want to learn how to draw a cat. you first have to look at the head, and then you start to understand the features. Oh, it has whiskers, it has eyes, 2 eyes, 1 nose, that sort of thing. Okay, that's how we learn. We went through the learning process. So, the thing about image generated through Midjourney, who does it belong to? You know, I paid for it. Does it belong to me? Again, it goes back to the terms and services. Again, there's a lot, but I may highlight the ones that are actually the ones that I find you think of use. The main important thing is you own all assets you create with the services. Basically, whatever image generated, you own it. Can other people use it? Yes, if you did the free one, the public one, other people see your one, can they take it? They can take it. But it belongs to you. Okay? So in the end, if you see someone using your artwork, you probably need to prove the prompt. Who is the one who prompted it? Okay? So these are the billing plans for Midjourney. 10 per month, you have a limited amount, 30 you can have full access, then 60. I paid for 60 because I wanted to self-image generation. No one can see what I do. You know, because that's me. Oh, yeah, that's the end of the slide. So then if you don't mind, I need to. So, with great looks come great responsibility. Because we can do the images that look so good. Okay. So the images generated are actually very good. If you ask me, where does it go after this? In the span of 1 year, it actually improved a lot. I would say that if you give it 2-3 years, it will be, of course, it will be even better. For me, the hardest thing for computer to understand and generate has always been aesthetics. Okay? And the problem now is AI has already conquered aesthetics. So you talk about mathematical things, 2 bedroom, 3 toilet, you know, how many square feet, 10 feet setback from the boundary, that sort of thing. All these, I believe, are can be programmed. Okay, it's a matter of time. You can actually put into Beam or put into AutoCAD, that sort of thing. But what they haven't done now is that they haven't crossed platforms. Midjourney is still in Midjourney. ChatGPT is still in ChatGPT. But when it starts to cross platform, they start to go into your AutoCAD or your Beam softwares. Then I believe in time, you just click a button, you can actually generate a workable building. Okay. And I have been a crazy person. I did a lot of, as you can see, the way I generate images and do competition entries for Evolo and architecture competitions. My previous boss actually said, I am an expert in designing buildings that cannot be built. Okay, so I always explore this kind of sci-fi worlds and all this crazy architecture which cannot be built. And what happens is that I created this project called Near Terra, short for New Earth. And the thing is, towards the end, I realized we do not have enough people to build the world. And what started off as a problem, it made me seek a solution. And 1 year ago, I found Midjourney. So finally, I get to build my own world. We have our storyline, but this is just purely to introduce the world building. This is generated using Midjourney. I use an AI revoicer. That means I can actually get characters to speak whatever words that I put into it. And there's only 2 images that are actually done by myself. So sit back and enjoy this crazy final clip.
Welcome to the Neoterra universe, a world of endless possibilities and wonders beyond imagination. Here, our visions are brought to life, our creations forever forged into the archives of time, built forth by the generations to come, into the cycles of eternity, for the glory of Neoterra. Neoterra, our known Earth terraforming into a new planet following the events of the cataclysm. The Earth we once knew was never the same, ravaged by environments never seen before, unveiling new frontiers never imagined. From the ashes we rise anew, our civilizations rebuild with the dawn of new architecture, bringing realism into fantasy and imagination. We seek to improve all aspects of human life, from military to transportation, resource mining to production, with technologies we never thought possible. And it is with these technologies that human life flourished, as was the great civilizations we once were.
By one person and a team of crazy people who never give up. So that's all from me. Thank you very much for your time.